Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Delaware Fun-A-Day 2021. I am your tech director, Brandon Boas, and I am here with the amazing Katie LeCocq, who is the DEFAD co-organizer, and we have such an amazing show and a lot of great things to get through tonight. So, Katie, how you feeling overall?
I'm just so excited to show it off, or that we can show it off now.
Yes, there is a lot of amazing work that participants have done this year, whether it be from a video medium, which I love, of course, or arts and crafts, which a lot of people got into this year. And of course, we've had a few screwball ones or strange ones that really went outside the box but brought a lot to the table, so to speak.
And we had authors as well. We had a poet and a fiction writer, so we had quite a wonderful mix of people that participated. We even had some pretty substantial collaborations. So a lot of exciting stuff.
And as always, we also had a lot of organizations, like you said, come into play. So, one of the things that we definitely want to let everybody know tonight, first off, is thank you for all the hard work you did through March, whether it be through the storm of the pandemic or a creative outlet or a boot camp for you. We're so proud and excited by all the participants that ended up submitting work. I believe it was a total of 153, if I counted correctly.
You did, that's right.
It's a good thing that my math is on point today, by the way. So, the other thing we wanted to say though is since we're virtual this year, another thing we want to bring to the table is for everyone watching, we're going to give back to the community in a few different ways. The first way is that we had a lot of great organizations we've worked with this year, and we're going to be showcasing interviews that we did with all of these amazing people about their space, the business they do throughout the overall live stream tonight. And on top of giving back, I'm going to point it over to Katie. And what are we going to be giving out over the stream tonight?
We've got an amazing array of raffle items, which all participants, who everyone who submitted their artwork, are eligible to win. So we've got six different prizes from gift certificates to classes at some of the arts organizations to our very fancy t-shirt and Delaware Fun-A-Day pins to some amazing artwork by one of the, oh boy,
I got you. Wendy Mitchell of the Tallyville Frame Shop did a lot of original art. And also, what was the other part of that raffle gift she gave us?
there's also some really adorable little swag from the Unemployed Philosophers Guild. So some adorable soaps. There's a Bob Ross Joy of Bathing soap, and We Can Wash It, Rosie the Riveter, and some cute mints and notepads, and a gift certificate to the Tallyville Frame Shop. And we also have a cool watercolor pack of really gorgeous watercolors that I'm having trouble showing you at the moment.
No
But
worries.
really wonderful. You can take a look at them more closely later.
So, overall, a lot of great raffle items up for grabs tonight. And just to let you all know, they will be periodically coming out through the night. Every time we're done showcasing a organization's interview video, we will then turn it over to the raffle wheel and we'll end up giving it a spin. Before we do that though, we'll end up telling you what the prize is for that specific part of the night, and then we'll spin and see who's the lucky winners. But just a few other little points really quick before we go any further into the show. Shout out to Karen Lang, by the way. Hello. We definitely did enjoy your art. And hi, Ash. I hope you're having a great night so far. I just wanted to get the elephant out of the room really quick. For those of you that are wondering where the other co-organizer, my wife Meredith, is tonight, she is feeling pretty under the weather, so I ended up taking the role over from her. So I hope you really enjoy my ferocious beard, and hopefully you're just as excited as both Katie and I are to show everything we got tonight. But before we go into our first organization's interview video, I'm going to pass it over to Katie, who's going to shout out some of our participants that have current exhibits going on.
Or when and ones that are coming up really soon. So
Yep.
Geraldo Gonzalez is a really awesome artist. His Instagram handle, I think, is King of Transit. He's a past Delaware Division of the Arts Fellowship recipient, and he's got a show right now which I am lucky enough to walk past every morning when I walk to work on, I believe it's 9th and Orange at the MKT Marketplace Gallery. So that's going on this month. I know there's going to be a closing reception, but you can check out his website to find that. But it's a gorgeous work. And I know that I think I saw that Eric Zippy has got a bunch of stuff he's going to be putting in the Belafonte Arts Festival. So I know he's working hard to get those together. And we have one of our collaborative pieces this year was a group of students in Miss Thomas's class at Servium Girls Academy. They did a collaborative piece called Through Our Eyes, which will be in the first Art Loop reopening, first show reopening for the Art Loop at the Grace United Methodist Church. And that will be in June. So a lot of cool stuff. And we would love to shout out if any of you have shows coming up shortly, please send it in the chat and we'll shout it out.
Thank you so much, Katie, for giving that information. As you all know, from a Delaware Fun-A-Day organization standpoint, we always love giving back to the community, being able to shout out your exhibits and your art pieces. And we're always just so excited to see when new shows are coming up that we can attend and see. Now, before we continue, I do see that I have someone that asked in the overall comments, where is the art display? And that's actually a really good question. So this year, with everything being virtual, we have a few different ways that you can view everything, whether it be pictures, images, videos, or vice versa. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the Delaware Fun-A-Day website through here. Check it out. And we're going to go ahead and interact with the page really fast. If you scroll down from the main Delaware Fun-A-Day page, you'll see that there is the Flickr account that you can click on. There's the Facebook account. There's also the YouTube channel. And we also have the Instagram right here as well. So when it comes down to checking out all the great artwork that we have on display from all the participants, feel free to go to our website. Just scroll down the main page and you'll see all the links for the different exhibits we have going on for you all tonight. If you have any other... Oh, go ahead, Katie. My apologies.
I was going to say, if you don't remember what our website is, it's DelawareFun-A-Day.com.
And of course, if you have any other questions, just feel free to type in the chat and we'll definitely get right back to you as quick as we can. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to the main screen for both Katie and I, as we're going to start talking just a little bit about our first interview here. So the last 2 years, if you got to participate with us in person, which hopefully again we get to do soon, we got to be at the Center for the Creative Arts in Hockessin, Delaware. And there's a lot of amazing space up there. Personally, I was not there the first year because I had a family emergency, unfortunately. But both of those years, we were pretty lucky because we had the direction of Terry Foreman, who is now actually the Newark Arts Alliance Director, who we have an interview with later as well. And then Katie, we also have, I'm just going to point it to you really fast because I think you can say her name correctly.
Melissa, I might mess it up too. Palercio, I think it is.
You got it 100%. I was so worried I was going to say the wrong word, so thanks for taking the buck that I passed to you. But both times we've had these directors that helped us with being able to use their space and organize has turned out to be incredible opportunities Last year was probably the most jam-packed artist exhibition we had, and we couldn't be any more thankful for Center for the Creative Arts and the team that's over there. So before we hop into that video, Katie, is there anything else you'd like to say before we showcase it?
No, dude, I think it's great. I know that this year being all virtual has been a little different, and we do hope to go to a physical show in the future. But yeah, we really wanted to do these interviews because a lot of this stuff happens organically during the show. When everybody's all together, they start talking about the organizations that they themselves are involved with, and we knew that this way we wouldn't have that opportunity to share those great connections that can be made through the Fun-A-Day show. So we're trying to kind of recreate a little bit of that here, so enjoy.
And other than that, as we move over, just to let you all know, this first interview had both Katie and Meredith doing the interview. So enjoy. Let us know what you think in the chat. We'll be watching and answering back to you, and we'll see you after the video.
So hello, we have the awesome Melissa Palercio with us tonight, and she is the Executive Director at the Center for the Creative Arts. Just a reminder, I'm Meredith S, one of your Delaware Fun-A-Day organizers, and joining me in the interview this evening is Katie LeCocq, your other Delaware Fun-A-Day organizer. So Melissa, thank you for joining me and Katie and telling us more about the Center for the Creative Arts.
Thank you for having me. I really love being here. We missed you guys so much this year.
Yes, but it was a good thing, COVID and keeping everybody safe was like the top priority for both the Center for the Creative Arts and for us as well. And so, we're hoping to get back to in-person next year, and we'll be looking at the possibilities in the future. I know, right? Fingers crossed. But now you guys were our wonderful hosts for Delaware Fun-A-Day over the last 2 years. So that was 2020 and 2019. So you guys are amazing. And so we definitely wanted to make sure that folks got to know more about you. So why don't you lead us off by telling us what the Center for the Creative Arts is and does?
Sure, absolutely. So Center for the Creative Arts is located in Yorkland, Delaware. We are a nonprofit community arts center, and both those words, community and art, are really important to our mission. We are dedicated to providing artistic opportunities for artists of all ages and abilities. And so that means we have a wide variety of programming in the 4 arts, so music, art, dance, and drama, for, I like to say, kids of all ages. So we have classes ranging from teen pottery to adult ballet to children's theater, oil painting, watercolor, beginner classes. There's usually, it's getting a little more busy again, but there's usually always something going on at some crazy hour of the day at Center for the Creative Arts that is in some way artistic, which is cool.
No doubt. And for the folks we have a lot of new participants this year, but we have some of our veteran participants, as we call them, that joined us again this year for the virtual format. So some people have not been physically to CC Arts yet, and they might not know that CC Arts is in an old elementary school, if I have that correct, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we are in the Yorkland School, which was built in the 1920s to serve the local community as an elementary school. And the center moved in September of 81. Mm-hmm. So we've been there for quite some time, but it's a cool building. We have a ton of different classrooms, our ceramic studio, a big auditorium where we have events, and the gorgeous outdoor spaces, which also let us invite the community onto our property and then into the building.
Yeah, it is an incredible space, and that was really a really great point for us for Delaware Fun-A-Day because of so many pieces of artwork that we get. I would say, and Katie, I think you'd agree, in 2020 we pretty much maxed out the spaces that we had available to us in 2020. So we were really we were jammed in there in a good way, because that's like the fun of the Delaware Fun-A-Day show, is it creates this really avant-garde, kaleidoscopic exhibiting experience that is not typical for most exhibits. But yes, it's an amazing space, and I know that in 2020 and 2019, the wonderful CC Arts staff and volunteers were able to take people on a tour of many of the classrooms and the studio spaces that CC Art offers, which is a lot. Like you said, there's dance studios in there. I know there's like a whole ceramics area with kilns and things. You've got music spaces for instrumentalists. And I know there was a pretty big group that was renting it out for a time, right? They were doing it was like a spiritual group of some sort that was there for a time.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, they'll be back with us in June. But yeah, so they're using one of the classrooms right now. Yeah, we like to be open to the community, and our slogan essentially is gather, connect, create, which has been a little bit of a challenge over the last year, but I think we've found a lot of different ways to overcome some of those challenges, incorporate them into what we do, and, as they say, pivot.
I know that one of the events that you guys do, and you'll have to tell me if it's coming up in 2021 or if it's maybe on hold for 2022, is speaking of also the incredible outdoor space that you have surrounding the CC Arts, is the Yorkland Storytelling Festival. Did I get the title right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we in 2019, we were host for the first annual Yorkland Storytelling Festival, which was an incredible weekend, really moving. There was the festival on campus, and then they also went into the local schools to bring these storytellers into the schools to work with students in workshops and to do performances in the schools. They were not with us, like you said, in 2020 due to the gathering restrictions. My fingers are still crossed that they'll come back in fall of 2021, but they're going to make that call probably sometime in the summer. We were able to have our summer camp programs last year, which was incredible. And we're so excited to welcome a lot of young people back for 10 weeks in the summer of this summer. We serve students approaching kindergarten through approaching 9th grade in different visual, performing arts and music camps that we provide. And it was a wonderful way for us, at least, to get to be able to come back into the building and reopen, because that kid energy, you just kind of can't beat it.
A little bit curious. I know that you kind of inherited Fun-A-Day. Like, it was kind of already set up when you became director there. And I'm kind of curious if it turned out the way you were expecting it.
No, it turned out 10,000 times better. I was a little bit stressed about how that was going to work. And I am so deeply grateful that I got to see one year of how it can work, and to get not only to meet you ladies, but work with you, because I saw how, one, it wasn't stressful. It was actually quite easy. And with the amount of volunteers that you had and some communication, like once we got our communication down, I just felt like it was so much better than I thought it could ever be. And then I got to see people experience seeing their art in an exhibition. And that was like the coolest thing ever. Like, I want to just put it everywhere in the whole building. Time you can come back, because it was so much easier to manage on our end than I thought it would be, just because of, I think our partnership was good. So, and your organization and the, just the passion that everybody brings to the project, so, I'm like 120,000% in whenever it is safe to have you back. Because it just felt so good to have art everywhere.
And we did. We filled up like every nook and cranny we could. And I'm so relieved to hear you say that. Some of the really nice complimentary things, like, we're easy to work with, because people get really freaked out when Katie and I are explaining, like, yeah, there's hundreds of people and there's no cap on how many can participate, and there's thousands upon thousands of pieces of art, and people are like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you fit that into a show? Like, their mind kind of goes for like a minute. But you see it. It comes together.
It sure does. Yeah, no, I had that moment where my mind exploded, and then it felt pretty momentary, because, between our planning conversations and then actually seeing the volunteers in action, putting the, headed by you guys, putting up the exhibit, it was really cool. It went up fast and like very respectfully of the pieces that came in, and I don't know, I just thought it was great, and I'm a big fan. 2 thumbs up.
Thank you. Yeah, we're with you.
And thank you for the shout out to our volunteers, because we have some amazing volunteers. So yes, they're beautiful.
Yeah, couldn't do it without them. I work in nonprofit too, so I know how valuable good volunteers are, and you guys seem to be lousy with them, which is awesome.
Yeah, they really come together for those big days, putting up the art and taking it down. And really, the volunteers are participants themselves, which is the cool thing, because they're creating their artwork, and then they're more than happy to pitch in as much as they can to help get their artwork up and the artwork of others. And like you said, trying to be respectful, and it's a kind of a neat learning experience for a lot of folks as well, really getting involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it easier to be a participant, or is it easier to be like a host of the event? What are you? Or maybe
host for sure. Yeah, host for sure. That part is something that I have done as part of my professional life for over 20 years now. So that part comes pretty naturally to me. And I feed off of other people's energy. So I just love when people are in the space. That's why being a visual artist in this way has been a little challenging for me, because it's very, just me. This is me in the paper. And as a theater artist, I'm used to needing multiple people to make art. And so, sometimes, I'll get a little in my head, which, I mean, you see like the baby fox and you're like, what are you getting your head about?
Cute.
But, there's certain things that just kind of get lost in my own thoughts, and with nobody there to bounce things off of. Actually, my partner, who's a musician and a sound designer, I got to day 3 and I was like, I'm stuck. It's over. I can't do it. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he was like, okay, deep breath. And I was like, give me an idea. Just say something. And he was like, Pelican Picnic. And I was like, boom. And I was just able to kind of run with it. But there was like very real moments of terror at the beginning of day 3 when I sat down at my space to create. And I was like, they're gone. All the ideas are gone. It's over. I'm done with it.
Speaking of the summer and things that are coming up, what are some of the big things that folks should look out for?
Mostly outdoor events that we're having. So June 6th is Yorkland Day. It's a festival that we co-created with Auburn Valley State Park and the Friends of Auburn Valley, the Marshall Steam Museum. It's typically a fundraiser for the nonprofits as in that partnership. This year, we are, however, just doing a smaller festival, and it's really more of a give back to thank this community that has supported our institutions through these really crazy times. We on CC Arts campus will have a band named Younger Than Charlie playing. We'll have artisans on board on the field selling all kinds of wonderful, beautiful things. And we're just excited to welcome people back to campus, and that's an outdoor event that'll take place on our campus in the state park, and then also at the Auburn Valley Mansion where the Steam Museum is. We also have we have a really popular music festival that typically always takes place in September, but we're adding a second date. So we're doing a hot jam on June 13th, which is the Sunday after Yorkland Day. It's a completely outdoor music festival. We'll have multiple different bands, obviously with lengthy time in between to, sanitize microphones, etc. But it'll be a nice little gathering. We were able to have our 2020 Hot Jam, which happened only at Dew Point. And so this year we're going to do Hot Jam both in June and also another date in September. And then summer classes and summer camp. We get inundated with incredible young makers from June 21st through August, I think 27th this year. 10 weeks of awesome summer camps, full day and half day options available. We have before and after care. So there's a lot of really cool and and flexible options for people who are either working parents or just ready for their kids to be somewhere that's not their house for an extended period of time. We are limiting class sizes still, both in summer classes and summer camps, to make sure that everyone is properly social distanced. And for all of our events and classes, masks are still required to be worn by anyone 5 and up on campus. That's just to keep everybody safe, but we are so excited. Well, it has been such a pleasure to reconnect with both of you. Just actually see your faces is awesome.
We're here.
And yeah, no, it's so good. And thank you. Like I said, keeping the project going and pivoting. Every like management thing that I've been on for the last year is like, we have to pivot now. We have to change and pivot. And I'm like, okay, we get it. We're not going in the same direction, but we have to keep using pivot. But no, it's great. And I'm so grateful that you guys are still doing this for myself personally and my own sanity, as well as the people who get to participate. And it's just awesome. So thank you so much for letting us be a part of it too.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for coming on today and sharing all of this really amazing, awesome info with everybody. It sounds a lot better coming out of your mouth than it does out of ours, that's for sure. So we're so grateful that you took the time to interview with us. And I think that about wraps up our interview with Melissa. So thanks again, Melissa, so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that first video of Center for the Creative Arts. We know we had a lot of fun putting it together, and basically overall it's just such a great feeling when you can end up organizing an amazing event like Delaware Fun-A-Day in a space like that. But as promised, the next thing we're going to do before we go any further is introduce you to our first raffle item of the day. Katie, would you like to say what it is?
I would love to. It is a $100 gift certificate towards classes at CC Arts. So, Brandon, I think you got a happy wheel of winners there, right?
Yeah, we sure do. So we ended up taking all 153 participants' names in order to make it randomized, and we went to, I believe the website is called thewheel.com or something like that. You'll see it in just a few seconds as we pop it up. And it's going to end up being clicked on and spin, and we'll see who our first winner of the night is. So we're going to go ahead and transition over to the raffle wheel and see what we got. Ready, everybody? Let's see. Wheelofnames.com. It's spinning around. It's spinning around. And congratulations goes out to Beth Ostrowski is the winner of the first raffle prize of tonight. Congratulations, Beth. And let me make sure we get back to our main screen here. There we go. We're going to make sure we write down all winners' names tonight so we can end up reaching out to you for your prize. If you're in the live stream, awesome, just let us know. But other than that, we're going to turn it over now to our next organization we want to talk about. So I'm going to let Katie discuss about them. There's a lot of great qualities of the First State Craft Guild. And Katie, feel free to let everybody at home know what they're all about.
Well, as Brandon mentioned, the First State Craft Guild is our next item to talk about. And we had recorded this amazing interview with Marcy Tauber, who is the director of the Craft Guild, or president. Oh gosh, I can't remember.
It's okay, it's president. I got you.
Okay. And she was so wonderful and so welcoming, and it was just such a lovely conversation. And unfortunately, it didn't quite record. So I'm gonna have to just talk about it a little bit. I'm so sorry, Marcy. But everybody should check out their website at fscraftguild.org. They are a chapter of the Philadelphia Craft Guild, and it's just a really great group of people, man. It's just people, anybody who loves to make things. So it ranges from amateurs to professionals, whoever just wants to get together and make things and show their work in places. So you can check out their website. You can visit I actually went to a board meeting once before COVID happened, and it was really great. One of the really most wonderful things about their meetings is in the middle they break for I think 20 or 30 minutes and just talk with each other, just get to know one another, and share their inspirations and what they're working on and how they can collaborate on stuff. And it's just, they're wonderful people. So if you should consider joining the craft guild.
And another thing to go off top of that too is when they do get back to physical meetings, they are actually meeting out of the Ronald McDonald House up at Wilmington. And it's really cool because, of course, that building is usually filled with parents and families that are trying to overcome their own trials and tribulations, so to speak. But the Craft Guild actually ends up doing a bunch of classes for the families and the children that are there during that time, whether it be in fine art, painting, and all these other amazing things. So definitely a huge shout out to the First State Craft Guild. I will definitely be the one that's I apologize for the video not working. There was a double looping voice issue that happened, and I tried for many hours, honestly, to rip the audio apart and make it work, but that was the only video that I unfortunately could not fix, and I gravely apologize. And also, First Aid Craft Guild, if you're out there, Marcy, if you're out there, I'm definitely more than happy to do a promo video for the First Aid Craft Guild after Delaware Fun-A-Day on top of that. Now,
you can check out Marcy's where she does fused glass artwork, and then over COVID she took up watercolor. So her Fun-A-Day project, she did fused glass and watercolors. So her stuff is all up on the website, on Flickr, all that jazz. So check out her stuff.
Yep, and Marcy's work is great. Just like a lot of you, it was a whole new medium for her this year, and she really knocked it out of the park, just like a lot of the participants out there this year. So, again, thank you all for continuously giving support and always participating every year, in and out, even through the pandemic. You showed up in numbers, and that's what really counts as a community. And speaking of community, it's a nice little segue to talk about our next interview with the director of the art studio in Delaware, Nicole Sexton. I've had the pleasure working with Nicole Sexton when it comes to Anime Day and a few other of the events that they do every year up there. And I can tell you that the multiple times I've been up there to see these events come live, it reminds me of Delaware Fun-A-Day because they're always creating art, they're always having fun, they're always inspiring and trying to reach out to different partners and community resources and projects to be able to bring these amazing things to light in their community. So we're going to be really excited to show you Nicole's interview, and I believe that was done with Meredith. I will give you all a caution though. This will be the first of two cautions, mind you. When we were speaking of Marcy's video having issues, both Nicole and Terry's also had some issues to deal with. So at this time, please make sure you readjust your volume to a little bit lower. Honestly, we weren't 100% able to get out all of the echoes that happened because of the mishap, but the video is still pretty well done. So other than that, before we hop over to our second interview, Katie, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just can't wait to check out the studio.
Yeah, and they're actually, speaking of which, I think this part of the video might have got taken out because of the audio issue. If you all get a chance, definitely visit their website. Their Anime Day, which has been extremely popular over the last many years, they're actually doing in a virtual format this year. And you can actually catch me there again because usually every year I do some type of panel or discussion on some nerd culture stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this next video. We'll be back soon. And let us know how you feel in the chat. We'll be talking to you through YouTube, all that good stuff. And again, enjoy.
Hi, so I have Nicole Sexton here from the Newcastle County Art Studio. Nicole is the Art Studio coordinator, and she's going to tell us about the Newcastle County Art Studio. Hi, Nicole.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been the coordinator there for a couple of years, so you know all about it. Do you want to give us a brief intro to the Newcastle County Art Studio?
Yeah, sure. So the Newcastle County Art Studio is actually part of Newcastle County government. So we're part of the Department of Community Services. And we are your community art studio. So we offer classes for people of all ages, all abilities, and we're located in the Absalom Jones Community Center, which is in Belvedere, right outside of Newport.
And that's also right up from the Christiana Mall as well, right? Like that's kind of one of the bigger, I guess, kind of local landmarks that people can use as a point of reference. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, so it's up 95 for sure, like 141 area, if people are familiar with that. But yeah, it's probably like a 5-minute drive from the Christiana Mall.
Yeah. I was associated with coming from Pennsylvania down Limestone Road. So it's
Yes.
right there, not far from PA or Maryland at all. It's like right up there in northern Delaware. Everything is currently being offered virtually with the art studio. Are most of the classes on Zoom?
Yeah, so most of the classes are Zoom. So for spring and summer, our adult classes that are in the evening are all virtual. So we have some watercolor classes for beginners and beyond beginners, beginning acrylic and oil painting classes, and then also the fiber arts class, which you'll learn like something different each week. It's a 4-week class, so like weaving, embroidery, and needle felting. Since the weather is starting to get a little bit nicer, we are going to start offering some outdoor classes at Rockwood and Glassville Park. So the Rockwood class is for adults, and it's like plein air, so just learning how to paint what you see outside. And then also at Glasgow, it's actually a family art class. So all of the materials will be provided, and you can come and register with your family and take a little time and do some creative stuff outdoors.
Wow, that's really wonderful, especially to get some fresh air since so many of us are cooped in right now. That's really wonderful to talk about. I did pull up a screen here that has the Art Studio website, which is part of the overall Newcastle County website, I believe, but you guys have your own Art Studio section so people can come onto the website for all of the classes that you guys offer.
Yeah, you can register through our website. And then you'll also see we have some summer camps that we are going to be offering in person. And those are starting in June. And they're for kids 6 to 17. So we're excited about that also. Slowly but surely getting back to having some people in the studio.
That's really wonderful. And of course, when we do go back to in person, I'm assuming social distancing, probably masks. I mean, we'll follow the state guidelines, of course, but I'm assuming those will probably still be some of the standards in place once people are in there.
Yes, absolutely. Safety is the number one priority. So, and the classes are going to be a lot smaller than they used to be, just so that you can get that social distance in there.
That's awesome. Okay, so I know that one of the big things that you guys do, you've been doing for a number of years, and you'll have to tell me the exact year if you know it offhand, is the NCC Hearted Art Contest, and you're taking submissions until May 7th, I believe.
Yeah. So so you're right. It's the 3rd year. So NCC Hearted, basically, it's kind of like Delaware Fun-A-Day, where we just want to get people creating art. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to think of yourself as an artist. You can think of yourself as an artist. It's completely up to you. It's all ages. And so it is a community-wide art contest where you create art showing what you love about your Newcastle County community. So it can be a drawing that you did at school, or it could be a picture you took when you were taking a walk outside. You do not have to be a Newcastle County resident to enter the contest. We accept things from everybody and from all visitors. The idea is just to get as many people creating as possible. And then what's really cool is that everything that's submitted is then part of an art show in June. So in the past, we've been able to do a pop-up art show at Glasgow Park. So everything was printed on postcards, and we hung and displayed everyone's artwork so you could walk through and find yours and see what everyone else submitted. And then last year we turned it to a virtual art show. So this year we're hoping to go back to in person. We're just waiting to see how things go. But no matter what, every submission will be part of an art show in June. And there are prizes for different age groups as well.
I just saw that on the website. That's really exciting because, you know, it's always nice to have that extra incentive when it comes to contests, of course. So looks like there's some good prizes there.
Yeah.
Some gift
absolutely.
cards. Jerry's Artorama, of course, is in Newark, Delaware now, and they're really wonderful. They have super affordable art supplies. So that's awesome that you got a gift card to there.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Yeah, so I've kind of scrolled through the website here while you were talking for the contest. So people can submit right through the website, or actually they email you directly, Nicole. Is that correct?
Yep, so you're going to create your piece of art. You're going to take a picture of it, fill out a really quick waiver, and email both to me. So it's nicole.sexton@newcastlede.gov.
Yep, and I have the website here, so people can definitely go there and submit. And they do not have to live in Delaware. People from outside of the state, if there's something that they want to share about Newcastle County that they love and Delaware that they love, they can definitely still enter their art. And they do not have to be a resident, which is great because that's how Delaware Fun-A-Day is too. You know, you don't have to technically live in Delaware or be from Delaware, but anybody can join us in our fun. Well, thank you again so much for your time, and it's been really wonderful.
Thank you for having me. And congratulations to everybody who participated in Delaware Fun-A-Day. It's been fun to see what everyone's making.
Thank you, Nicole.
And welcome back, everybody. So I hope you really enjoyed Nicole Sexton's conversation. There was a lot, honest to God, of great discussion that we had with Nicole. Again, that was another one that kind of had some of the minor audio issues. But you should definitely check out the Art Studio website. They always have a lot of events, community classes, lectures, and events going on that are just out of this world. And again, it's just those little communities like the Art Studio that somehow end up becoming like almost the behemoths of all the communities that surround our Delmarva area and specifically the Newark, Newcastle area. But now what we're going to do is, just like we said earlier today in the overall stream, we are going to do our second raffle of the night. And Katie, what are we raffling off this time?
Today we are raffling off the very fabulous 2021 t-shirts designed by our very own Meredith S. Boas.
Woo!
A pack of 4 super awesome pins, DEFAD pins. And I have to say, these shirts are not just any shirts. I don't know if any of you got the ones last year. We used the same shirts as last year. It's this tri blend, and they're so soft. Like, even if it was an ugly shirt, I would wear it even in public because it's so soft. But luckily, it's gorgeous. So, all right, Brandon, take it away. Spin the wheel. Let's see who gets this.
Yep, and I will say that is the definition of sleeping on a cloud, by the way, is that t-shirt. So let's take a look at the second spin of the night. Let's see who wins the raffle this time. It's so close to being finished, and it's gonna be... Oh, Beth Trepper, congratulations! I actually think you're in the chat, aren't you? Just won a t-shirt and pins, by the way. Congratulations goes out to Beth.
Have it tonight, man.
I guess if you had the name Beth, you are rolling mighty tonight. Beth, feel free to message us in YouTube, and not YouTube. Yeah, YouTube live stream, my apologies. And we can email and get your shirt size and things of that nature to get the prize over to you. Now, getting back... Oh, go ahead,
Or you
Katie.
could just send an email to DelawareFun-A-Day@gmail.com with your size and address to send it to.
So, let's go a little bit off topic here. It's not going to be too far, but one thing that I noticed that we didn't get a chance to put in our linear notes for the night, and the reason why we probably didn't is because of how weird of a year it's been, of course. So one thing that from the bottom of our hearts we every single year want to tell you all is if you volunteer, you're also part of this operation, part of this family, the heart of this overall event. And what I just realized was we didn't really get a chance to do too much volunteering this year because of the fact that we all had to stay away, stay quarantined. But Katie, speaking of which, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you of course participated in the last, I believe, 4 years of Delaware Fun-A-Day, maybe 3. I could be wrong with that number. But initially, you started off as a volunteer at one point, if I do recall correctly.
Yeah, well, last year I found out that, the 2019 one, I found out that Meredith had done the entire show all by herself. And I was like, no, that's not cool. There are so many people here, and I may not be the best at certain things, but at least I can help out and where I can. So so I joined the organizing team, and there are a lot of really awesome people out there that did the same. I mean, a lot of the like the day of putting stuff up. And this year actually we did have a couple of really great volunteers helping us distribute some flyers. Leslie Leach, and there was somebody else, and I'm spazzing on the name.
There was Autumn as well. Autumn Awesome, I believe. And it helps so much because, for example, Meredith and I live in the far northeast corner of Maryland. So we're literally 2 minutes away from Delaware. And Katie, I think you're closer to the Wilmington area, if I remember correctly. But every year when we usually do rack cards and flyers, we have an amazing team that basically comes, meets us somewhere in the middle, grabs all these things and distributes them all over the state of Delaware. Another shout out also goes to James Dufendock, who is the owner of PLB Comics down in Southern Maryland, Ocean City. But he's a Delaware resident, and last year he was distributing a bunch of art, postcards, flyers, and everything for us down there. And the reason why this is all going to wrap into a really nice interview coming up is because our next interview is going to be on the Tallyville Frame Shop. And I got to tell you, if there is one of the organizations on our list tonight that we had an interview chance with, owner Wendy Mitchell, that is, Wendy has been here, I think, longer than I have in regards to Delaware Fun-A-Day. Now, just a really quick history. Meredith ended up doing her first Delaware Fun-A-Day on me. It was just a bunch of different cosplays that I wore, and it was called Beer Today. But all the way back then, Wendy was actually a drop-off location. So all these years later, 10 years later, the one initial person that is still dishing out kindness, generosity, and care is Wendy Mitchell of Tallyville Shop. And we definitely wanted to give a huge shout out to Wendy. And we had to sing her praises tonight. And what better way to sing praises than show her in an interview talking about how amazing her shop and operation is and all the great things that are to be at the Tallyville Frame Shop. Before we hop on over there, Katie, anything else before we take a look?
I just want to say, if anybody wants to get any of their Fun-A-Day pieces framed, go to Tallyville Frame Shop. She will have you covered.
Yep, and in this following interview video, you will see what we mean by that. Wendy has you covered no matter which way, from the normal to the bizarre. Check it out.
We're here now with Wendy Mitchell, the co-proprietor of the Tallyville Frame Shop and Gallery. Hello and welcome, Wendy.
Hello. Nice to be here. Nice to see you guys.
Good to see you again, too. You've been running the Tallyville Frame Shop and Gallery for how long now?
17 years.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's been a while.
So you have framing services and a gallery, which in non-COVID times, you have a few shows a year, but you also have gallery space year round.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there and how it all works?
we're primarily a custom framing shop, so that's the bulk of the business. So we, you can see the frame samples behind me. We help you pick out what goes with your picture, and as far as matting and frames and that sort of thing. And that's the primary business. But we've always had some artwork hanging in the shop. And since my partner Rick and I took over in 2005, we've tried to change things up from the typical Brandywine Valley artwork kind of scene. We added gifts and jewelry, so we have that stuff all the time. We have some framed prints, we have unframed prints, but we've emphasized just a little bit different than what you normally would see in this area, at least especially when we started. We had friends who were illustrators and horror illustrators and science fiction fantasy people, and we just wanted to have some of that stuff in the store. Plus we wanted to hang our own stuff, and that was definitely not local landscape stuff, although I have done it. But yeah, so COVID's made it interesting. We're by appointment for the custom framing right now, but we're open for browsing for the gallery and gift stuff. As far as the shows go, they got completely canceled because of COVID. But yes, we have three definites every year, and we've had other things in between where we've changed things up. Done a lot of different things over the years.
So you mentioned a few shows that you have a year in non-COVID times, of course. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yes, we have 3 every year for sure. We do the Wicked Winter Show, which has gotten moved to March. It used to be in February because there was nothing to do in February, but it kept getting snowed out, so then we moved it to March. And then it snowed out a few times after that too. It's just a loosely winter-based theme where really it's kind of just a darker theme. The idea is just to break up the dark parts of winter with the crazy art show. So we get a fair amount of horror stuff. Kristen Margiotta and Pat Higgins are always in it. I know they're Fun-A-Day people. A bunch of other people. It changes up over the years. Pam Slayton. So probably a whole list that I'm missing. So yes, we have that one in March, and then consistently we have the Coffin Ball, which is in October, and that is coffin-shaped artworks. Everybody does the same size, and there's coffin shapes, and they do whatever they want. So some of them are really beautiful, some of them are kind of scary and creepy, sometimes they're really funny. It's interesting to see what people do with that idea. That's our Halloween theme. And then for the past 6 years, not counting this past year, we've done the Big Little Art Show. And that was an idea that was actually cooked up by a friend of ours, Mark Rosenblatt, who I think did the first Fun-A-Day in Delaware. So that's a tie in there. Mark came up with this idea where he just wanted people to do all the same size art and just do whatever they wanted. There was no particular theme. Everything was 6 by 6. I think the first year they were a different size, but we settled on 6 by 6, and we host the show. He's turned over the reins to me, but it's a great, big, crazy thing. It's all on one wall. We hang them all right next to each other. There were about 220, I think, the last show. About 70 different artists, most of them local, but we have a few people that mail us stuff. My friend Kim mails something from California every year, and just regional people. There's tattoo artists, there's 3D artists. We get sort of dimensional stuff. We've got welded steel things, photography, oil paintings, etchings, drawings. I think Kurt Bruegel did scratch boards. So it's everything, and it can be a fine artist right next to a tattoo artist, and you can have just all these different types of art all together, and it's great getting everybody together. The opening is actually half as much fun as doing the whole thing, just watching everybody network. That's a good one. And we've had other art shows. We did a portrait Pollyanna with artists that was an artist favorite, maybe not the best one for commercial gallery. We drew names out of a hat, and everybody had to secretly draw a portrait of another artist. And then we did sort of a surprise reveal for an opening, and that one was a lot of fun. We've had a shop dogs art show where we had paintings and artworks of the dogs that worked in the shop. So we've had a lot of different kinds of things over the years. But the Big Little Art Show, Wicked Winter, and the Coffin Ball are the steady ones.
How does an artist get involved with being a part of this once things open up again?
Generally, with the gallery space, the regular showing artists, I usually pick those out. So I like people to email me first so I can get a look at it, because not everything is going to sell in every gallery. And that's advice I give to most people. Go to the gallery that you like first. See if their artwork fits with what you do. And then figure out how to contact them. But yeah, we'll take email. He can email us and I'll take a look. And if I think we can use it, or I think it'll work for a certain show, the Big Little Show is fairly open. We are 16 and up on that one, I think, as far as age goes. We're toying around with another idea of doing a younger person's Big Little Art Show, but we haven't worked that out yet. And generally, you want to send, if you're emailing, you want to send some examples or a link to a website, and then we go from there.
That's awesome. So you've actually had a rather storied past with Fun-A-Day. You yourself have been a participant, and you've been for many years, you've been a drop-off and pickup location for when we had the in-person shows. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those cool connections you've made through Fun-A-Day?
We've actually picked up a fair amount of artists for our other shows through Fun-A-Day drop-offs, because people would bring their artwork in and we would see what they did. I've had Rob Sample, I think, was a Fun-A-Day artist I met, and he's been in several of our shows now. He does beautiful work. Avalon Bathory is now our part-time employee, and I met her through her Fun-A-Day drop-offs. We liked her artwork, and at some point this year we needed some help, and she was available.
So you mentioned that the bulk of your business there is with framing. Do you have a favorite artwork you framed, or the strangest artwork you framed, whichever you prefer to answer?
The favorite's tough, because we framed a lot of really nice pieces. And I can't tell you, I don't know that I have a favorite specifically, but we've definitely done some beautiful stuff, and we're getting more and more original stuff in now. For the first part of my framing career, it was mostly prints, limited edition prints. And now we get more and more original artwork. People are really branching out. The internet has made them able to buy artwork, not just in their local area. They can find stuff everywhere. So we've had a lot of fun just seeing what people bring in. We've framed some strange things. We've framed some really odd things. We framed a zither. That was interesting.
Oh, wow.
The musical instrument. Yeah, it was huge. It was a crazy show we had to build. We framed 2 World War II naval uniforms. So the shadow boxes stand out because they're always the interesting ones where you have to figure out how to mount the objects and do the stuff. I framed a bungee cord once, not here at the frame shop, but I did frame a bungee cord once. It was a woman framed it for her husband because he went for his first deep sea fishing trip, and that's what he caught. So she framed it.
I love it. That's adorable.
Yeah, that one was fun. I framed somebody's cast off of their arm. They broke when they were 10. He wanted to save that forever. They're just, you never know what you're going to get in here.
That's amazing that you can just find a way to make it work for anything. Like whatever somebody has that means something to them, you find a way to make it preserve it and
that's
make it able.
That's the thing about framing. It's not just for fine artworks and 2D artworks. You frame lots of stuff, and I say, it's better on the wall where you can enjoy it than in a drawer where you're never going to look at it again. we've done, I did a watch collection, which sounds really sort of fancy, but at least 3 of the watches were like 80s digital watches that were just really goofy looking. But that was fun, and that was something a woman did for her husband because he had collected these things. So we put them in a shadow box. So it's nice to help people keep their memories alive. You know, we do a lot of military medal shadow boxes and things like that, and some sports things, hole-in-one golf balls, that sort of thing. But it's always interesting to see what people bring in, and they really do bring us memories and their stories. And then the artwork, the 2D artwork is great fun too. You love to have frame of beautiful painting, or just kids artwork is some of my favorite to frame. They just know no boundaries. They just do their thing. And if you frame it very seriously, it's much more interesting on the wall than a poster that matches your couch.
You do a kind of a variety of different mediums. Do you have a specific one that is close to your heart?
I'm very fond of the black and white and the charcoal stuff. I don't do it as much as I used to, and I did do some etching and printmaking in college, but that requires more equipment that I don't have.
Yeah.
So I still do a lot of pencil work. One of my Fun-A-Day projects was pencil portraits of women artists. The National Museum of Women in the Arts every March for Women's History Month does a hashtag, name 5 women artists. And I read that, and I came into work and I said to a couple people, I was like, can you name 5 women artists? And I could, but I was amazed at how many people couldn't. And so that was my Fun-A-Day project for that year. And I went way beyond 5, obviously. It was a full month, so I think it was 30 or 31. And I knew a fair amount of them when I started, but it was a great project because I got to research even more and find more women artists that I didn't know about. But they were all just simple pencil portraits. So I learned about them, but I just like to look at the faces of the people who did these things. So that I like the pencil work. My first Fun-A-Day project was potato prints. The show was going to be in October, so I did a Halloween themed potato print thing, and that was a lot of fun, but completely different from the more fine art stuff. I wanted something that I could do fairly quickly so I wouldn't stress myself out. But they're great fun to do. I think I did them in 5th grade, but I did them again in college, and I just thought that this was a great time to redo them. So.
I love it.
I've done more acrylic painting lately. I've gone from figurative stuff. I did a lot of figurative stuff, some fantasy, horror stuff. I did some illustration. Then I always sort of come back to birds. I think the first things I did when I was in middle school and high school is my father would drag me around to these wildlife shows, and I started painting and drawing ducks and geese and waterfowl. But after a stint of doing a lot of figurative stuff, I ended up sort of coming back to the birds. So lately I've been doing owls. I'm loosely working on a series of an owl infestation.
Ooh.
You know, pun there on the vest. They're owls in vests, and that's what I've been painting for the past year.
I love it.
I have a friend who works in a wildlife rehab facility in New Jersey, and she gets me great pictures and great reference, so I can have fun with that. And I've really enjoyed it. Acrylic painting, not my favorite medium for the amount of time versus the sort of instant gratification of a pencil or charcoal drawing that you work on, but it's finished in a reasonable amount of time. The acrylic, I got to deal with the color, which is not my strong suit. But I keep going. I keep trying new things. I want to learn new stuff.
Did you want to give us a quick little tour of your shop?
See how this works. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. Need this off of here. That out of the way. And the dog may enter the frame at some point. All right, here we are.
The dog is welcome.
That is there's the photo frames, and nothing too exciting. And the massive wall of frame samples that we have lots of.
Yeah, you've got an amazing selection there.
And we've gotten a whole lot of new kind of interesting things. Oops, squeeze through here. We got some fun new color ones. So there's lots to choose from. We have some glitter and sequin ones back there on the wall. This is the design table. And then we have our gifty stuff. This is a company called the Unemployed Philosophers Guild, and they have a lot of really fun things. We have the Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Where is she? There she is.
Yeah.
Changing mug. So you put hot water in it, and she changes from her judge's robe to her workout clothes. It's pretty funny. That company is really funny. Here's some of our jewelry that we carry by a local artist. This is Drew Malacheski, and she does copper and bead work. A lot of fun stuff there. And I have another jewelry artist, Lois Blankenship, who does more bead things. Sometimes she throws some geodes in.
Wow.
And then we have some artwork on the walls. Got a little bit of everything, some Brandywine School stuff, some Delaware Art Museum prints. I snuck in a couple of mine. There's one of the shop dog pictures. That's Cream. All right, we're backing out there. That's Cream. He's trying to figure out what he's having for lunch. He was a dog that used to belong to one of the employees here. There's my women portraits for the Fun-A-Day.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is a great big owl without a vest. This is Duster. He's a charcoal. Got some framed. They're hard to see with the glare, but we've got some of the Delaware Art Museum Howard Pyle posters. I loved it. I love framing those up. There's some other lots of note cards. We have these metal art pieces that are not local, unfortunately. I would love to find a local artist that does this stuff. And this is Nicole Christiana Logan. She's from Bellefonte. I don't know if she's done Fun-A-Day. This is Lois Blankenship, who also does the jewelry. So we have some of her springy florals in right now. A few other things. These are Robin Cezanne, who's just started doing clay prints, which are, well, she's been doing them for a couple years now, but they're fun. These are little fun things from my friend Kim in California. These are Avalon's, the girl who works for me, who I met through the Fun-A-Day. She does a series of little bird skeleton pieces. She is named Janet. And there's Chef Janet, and Janet with bunny ears, and Janet on a big old bicycle. And this piece, if I can show it, that's one of Rick's, my partners. It's an ostrich, a dressed up ostrich. And I think we have some Beth Treppers here too. She's done the Fun-A-Day. She's a Delaware photographer, been around a long time. So yes, that's kind of the shop.
Wendy, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I'm looking forward to getting back to shows. I think that we are shooting for having a big little show in the first weekend of December. We haven't worked out how much will be live and how much will be virtual, but we're really hoping to have it again this year. Maybe the Coffin Ball in October. I guess we'll see what this virus has in mind for us. So we've been very lucky that we're still here. This past year has been a challenge, but yeah. You're having a virtual show this year. I can hardly wait until we're all back to in-person shows where we can see all the art in person.
And welcome back, everybody. So, Wendy Mitchell, everyone, from Tallyville. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I got a chance to see a lot of comments, by the way, basically giving kudos to Wendy, also her artwork. And I gotta tell you something, I was gonna try to save this line for a little bit later, but speaking of Wendy's artwork, what do we got for a raffle prize there, Katie?
you mentioned earlier Wendy's generosity, and she did not disappoint. She has given us to raffle off a piece of her own artwork, which is gorgeous, and I'm really jealous of whoever wins this. A $10 gift card to the Tallyville Frame Shop, and 2 super and amazing smelling soaps that I'm very happy are here in front of me right now. 2 tins of mints and some post-it note thingy jiggies, all from the Unemployed Philosophers Guild. So they're very tongue-in-cheek and quite adorable. So let's see who gets to win this awesome pack.
All right, we're gonna head over to the raffle wheel right now. Off we go, spinning around. Where's it gonna stop? Nobody knows. Well, I'll know in a second though. And the winner of this awesome package is Alexander Rosenthal. So congratulations, Alexander. If you are in the chat, you are the official winner of that pack and that raffle prize. And if you're not here, don't worry. We'll make sure that we write it down on the side and send you an email in regards to where to send it, where to ship it, all of that good information in between. Or if you're close and local, which a lot of you out there are, you can come on and we can maybe meet at Tallyville or go somewhere of that nature. But before we get any further, we did have a really good question in the chat that I was going to let Katie go ahead and answer really fast for everybody that's attending. So go ahead when you're ready, Katie.
There was a great question about purchasing artwork that other participants have made, and every year we always that's always an option at the show, but it's always done between the purchaser and the artist themselves. Fun-A-Day doesn't have any part of that. So if you are interested in purchasing a piece of work, I would recommend you go ahead and reach out to the artist to see if they are willing to sell. And I do know that on the Flickr albums, they have at the bottom of their description, we've got if they had a website or a Instagram or a Facebook, that's all listed there. So, and if you don't see any of that, you can also give us an email us at delawarefun-a-day@gmail.com, and I can reach out on your behalf to see if they're interested. So, great question.
Yeah, when that question came through, it was the perfect storm to ask, because the reality is with this year being virtual and everything, unfortunately there was no easy way for the artists to be able to get price tags out or be able to display it like we do in the past when we're in person. So that is definitely 100% the safest way and the greatest bet to be able to buy any type of art that you see through the Flickr albums and through all the other social media posts that we've done. And if you do have a question for the artist and you're kind of like not sure where to email them or things of that nature, feel free to ask us and we'll contact them through email quick to make sure that it is a possibility to make that exchange of contact information to be able to make a possible purchase. And we'll always be happy to be able to facilitate something of that nature or be able to meet more artists together inside of this community. Now, go ahead, Katie.
Reiterate though, so Fun-A-Day is not going to be a mediary for the funds. That we will just be connecting you together. We won't take part in the transaction of said artwork.
And I'm really glad you said that because, yep, it's the same thing when we were in person too, but same thing with this year. We don't have anything to do with the transaction or purchases. It's all up to customer and artists. Now, with that being said, our next video, I'm going to give a minor introduction because Katie's going to go more into it, but get ready to hear about a place that you might not even know exists, but sounds pretty flipping amazing. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Katie.
Well, I had the great pleasure a few years ago of meeting Alan Baisden, and he has been working so diligently for several years to get a historic farmhouse refurbished into an art space, but still, within it's a historic site, so keeping everything in its historic nature and up for occupancy and people to visit. So we're going to hear a little bit from Alan about that process and what to look forward to. It's coming close to opening, so it's pretty exciting.
And before we begin, also, Alan did get a chance in this interview, you'll see, to show us some of the workflow and process that he does. And I gotta tell you, Katie, you probably knew, but some of the things he was talking about, I had no idea was even something you could do. I was actually kind of blown away from this interview. And Alan had a lot of great information to tell. And on top of that, the other like overarching thing that he talks about that's really special to me, especially in the Delaware Fun-A-Day community, is he's building something that's going to bring more art to the community. But he did also lend out kind of a hand to say, hey, if you need any help in trying to create your own space like this or start something of this nature in Delaware, let me know and I'll give you some advice and information from all the things that we went through. And you'll get a chance to see all of that amazing information in the video. So sit back, relax, grab a bag of popcorn if you got it, and let's have some fun talking about Jester Art Space.
Hi, I'm here with Alan Baisden, president and founder of Jester Art Space. Hello and welcome, Alan.
Thank you, Katie. Good to see you again.
Lovely to see you as well. We'd like to know how people are connected to Delaware. Are you a resident, born and raised, and what opportunities have you found here?
Yes, I was born and raised in Delaware. I'm a Concord High School graduate. I grew up on Grub Road, just down the road from the Jester farmhouse. I don't live in Delaware now. I live in Paoli, Pennsylvania. But I grew up with a lot of just creative friends, and really I became first interested in the arts when I was at Concord High School, and I took the art orientation class with Jerry Becker there. And I just never thought that I would go to work in the arts or in any capacity. My dad worked for DuPont like so many other kids' dads, and I just thought I'd be a scientist of some kind, go work for a chemical company. But it was really later in life when I kind of discovered, some light bulbs went off, and I discovered that the arts were really going to be my thing. And really, I think it was Jerry Becker's class that helped a lot there.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you kind of found that path to your creative outlet early on.
Yeah.
So fast forward, August of 2015 or 14? I don't know.
Yeah, end of 2014, really,
okay.
When we first came up with the idea for the art space. So I was, my wife Deborah and I, we were visiting with our friends Andy and Eve for Christmas Eve dinner. And I was talking with my friend Dan Bonarsik, who I've known since high school. And he kind of said to us, he introduced us. He said, Alan, have you ever met my sister? You never met my sister before, have you? Her and her husband Ken, they're really into art. And I know you're really into art. So, why don't you guys meet and start talking? And, we just had I had that moment where my heart sank a little bit, where, somebody says like, you're into art, this person's into art, but you really don't have that much in common in the art that you do. And you feel like, it's going to be sort of an awkward, polite conversation. But Ken and Susie were wonderful, and they had just moved back from New York, and Deborah and I had so much in common with them, and we just had this great conversation, and we realized that we all felt that there was something missing in the area, that there was some arts venue that we would really like to see in North Wilmington. And then it was the following day on Christmas, I was talking with my dad, Christmas dinner, and he was lamenting how the farmhouse there had not gotten a resident curatorship yet, curator. Now, this kind of goes back to about 2000. My dad had originally been involved with the farmhouse because it was going to be bulldozed for soccer fields. And so he had worked with Councilman Weiner at the time to get it saved so that perhaps some young couple could move in there in a curatorship program. and they could fix it up with their own money, and they would have a lifetime right to live there, rent and tax free, which sounds like a really good idea. It sounds like a sweet deal, except you need to consider that whoever becomes the curator could never really own it. They couldn't get a mortgage on it. Suddenly, you think it through, and there's some obstacles to doing this. The space is not that big. It would be a lot of money to put in for a house that's not that big. So the curatorship wasn't working out. So when I was talking with my dad, he was kind of a little bit bummed about that. But then I started talking to him about this conversation with Susan and Ken the night before, and some things started clicking, and I started talking with other friends and talked with Susan some more, and we realized that maybe this could work as a nonprofit organization, where instead of a couple or one person having to bear the burden of fixing this space up, that if it was a group and it was nonprofit, we could apply for grants and other assistance, and it could become more of a community thing. And the idea really started to take some traction with our friends, and the county really liked the idea of it. They don't have anything else like that. And I think they were just really eager to find a solution for some of these farmsteads that are in their possession. They are historic. This house is 200 years old, but without a real clear purpose for what you're going to do, it becomes very hard to justify the government putting money into them. I mean, how do you tell somebody, no, I'm not going to fix the potholes in your road. I'm going to fix up this farmhouse that nobody's using for any purpose. So when we present to them with a really viable solution, it suddenly started to make a lot of sense.
That is awesome. So the space itself is still in the works.
Yes.
Do you have a projected timeline for when your doors will open?
It's a little bit hard to say exactly when we'll open. Where it is right now is that the county is in charge of doing site work and the exterior of the house, and we're in charge of doing the interior of the house. And we've, from various foundations and individual donations, we've been able to get to where we can fund this part. We think we're in good shape for funding the interior of this. So the county is now working on the exterior. If you drive by the house, and for those who don't know where we're talking about, if you are on Naaman's Road and you get to the intersection of Grub Road, it's a T-junction there. You turn down Grub Road, and about not even a quarter mile on your right, you'll see a big pasture there. Until recently, they had cows out there. And that's Jester Park. A lot of people don't realize it's a park, but it is. So it's the farmhouse in there. So they've unfortunately had to tear down some of the newer wing of the house, the less historic part. It was just too badly damaged from just decades of neglect. But they're building back on the same foundation. They've saved the original foundation and the original stone walls from the original structure that date back to before the Civil War. And so they're building back around that. That they're able to do within their budget. So if you drive by there now, you'll see that the walls are going back up. And we expect them to be done with that work in early summer. And then they'll turn it over to us. And so right now we're in the process of our architectural work, preparing to send our work out to bid. And hopefully we'll be able to, get this done. We'll be able to get a good contractor who can work within our means. And so I think an estimate might be that we could get that work done by December. But don't hold me to it, because we do need to really see how the bidding works out.
Yeah, understood. So once it is completed, what kinds of things would a community member see there?
Okay, well, it's going into it. You see, first there'll be a taller gallery space in there, and again, and just to be clear, it's not a huge space. This is really, I think what's very good about this is very appropriately sized for the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. People, they don't want huge amount of traffic. They don't want something that's just going to, just be disruptive to them. But they do want to have something that's cultural and interesting. So you go in there, there will be a gallery space that's going to be 2 floors high, or actually go all the way up to the ceiling there. And then there'll be there's going to be smaller gallery space, 2 other gallery / instructional spaces downstairs, and then another one upstairs. And things that we'll be doing, would be things that we've already done in other spaces. We've had just various classes and workshops. I teach a class in stop motion animation that you do just with your phone. It's this software stop motion studio you put on there, and it's very simple. Everybody has a phone these days, smartphone, and so it's just learning the basics of stop motion animation. And then at the end of the class, you have something that you can put up on YouTube that you've done with animated cut paper, like you were doing South Park or something. So that's fun. I also do a line cut class. My wife is a very talented line cut artist. You can see her work on the wall behind me. My wife Deborah. And let's see, we do outside drawing events after COVID. Hopefully, be doing indoor drawing events again. We were doing just monthly events, costumed events. We really try and make that very interesting. Bring in some people who have very interesting historic costumes, outfits, specialty things that are just really interesting to draw. We'll have gallery shows there. When the weather's warm, we expect to be having perhaps movie nights out back, projecting movies up on the back wall of the house. So really quite a wide variety of artistic things.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's going to be a really great resource for the community.
I think so.
And I love that you are not waiting for the space to be open to be hosting these events and classes. That's really lovely. You're kind of getting everybody used to the idea of having that space there.
Well, I have to confess, there's a little bit of self-serving aspect to that as well, because applying for the grants to fund the house, I mean, it's just a natural question that a funder is going to ask is, what are you going to do there? Mm-hmm. And it's a whole lot easier to explain what you're going to do when you're already doing it.
That is very true. Well, and you're an artist yourself.
I am.
What you told us a little bit about your wife's medium. What about you? What is your favorite medium to use?
Well, I like just urban sketching with ballpoint and watercolor. I occasionally go to events with Delaware Urban Sketchers. That's a group that we like to cooperate with. They're wonderful. And aside from that, I do line cut. Then line cut's something I really got involved with the art space. I hadn't really thought about it before then, but it's just a great medium for being able to create copies of artwork that you can give to donors and people who've really helped you out. So I got a few things. I brought a few things. One of the things for my urban sketching that I like to do a lot is actually just sketching my dogs, because they're just always here and they're adorable. There's see here. There's Cody. Aww. He's a golden retriever. Let me get that in the camera there. But yeah, he's really great. And got a few other things. So the last outdoor sketch event we did in the fall was with Tatiana, this woman. She's amazing. The outfits that she does all herself. And let me see here. I've got a sketch of her. She came in this old-timey nurse's outfit from World War I. Let's see. So there's.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. Oh, wow.
So that was good. And then for my line cuts, I can show you one of those. This was I working on a series of line cuts about just sort of local legends and ghost stories and things like that. So this was the Jersey Devil right here. Uh-huh. I did.
Oh, wow.
Very menacing with the burning house there below, making use of the blue and the orange and the black. So.
Oh, I love it. I lived in Jersey myself for a little while.
But yeah, other than that, I like. I do family members a lot. That's my daughter Emma there. She's the one who's working at Vanguard now.
And that's all with ballpoint and watercolor?
Yeah, that might have been fountain pen. I switch it up with fountain pen. Here's Will Fay. This was from one of our art space indoor drawing sessions before COVID.
Nice.
Will Fay is he's you can see he's got this rocks this cowboy outfit, and that's my dad in his workshop. That's the same workshop that, I mean, it's great. Like he's still got the blackboard on the wall that I learned to do my letters on when I was 4. I mean, all this stuff's still in his workshop. My wife Deborah there.
Oh.
Is back from the library. It's just amazing she's a librarian. Her dad was illiterate. Like he was literally illiterate, And when he would read stories to her, he would he would just tell the story. Like he couldn't read it, but she just came to love books, and now she's a librarian,
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially that just imagination to be making up the story, pretending that you're reading it in a book.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? I mean, it's just a shame that he couldn't read, but that's what he would do. He would just tell a story.
Yeah. Wow. Well, are there any classes that you think will be available at Jester Art Space once it opens that you can't do now that you'd be excited to tell us about?
Yeah, well, I mean the ones like I know the line of cut one is popular because that's great for the holidays. I mean, people want to make holiday cards and things like that, making a handmade thing, or we do that for Mother's Day as well. So that's pretty special. Susan Benarsic, her specialty is I think we must have pictures of it on our Facebook page. These Pizanki eggs that she does for Easter, and it's a shame we couldn't do that this year. But they are just astoundingly beautiful, these things, and it's such a hands-on thing. You really have to do it indoors. It's just not a very COVID-friendly thing. So that's a very popular one. The stop motion animation that I do, again, it's kind of hands-on. You kind of get through COVID before we can do that. And then we're just really excited about just new things. I mean, that's really what we want to do. Is we're always exploring, talking to people, trying to find out what is that special superpower that somebody has. Find that person who did that wacky workshop in Italy when they were in art school and they learned how to sculpt with some strange material that you've never heard of. I mean, who is that? Trying to identify that person who can give you that special little workshop. That's really what we want to do. So we'll know those things when we find them.
Just real quick, you've mentioned lino cut several times, and could you just explain a little bit about what that is and the process for it?
Yeah, that's got a bunch of just scraps right here in my desk drawer. So this is actually here was a test for the Jersey Devil. Okay, so this was a test I did of the house. So you can see this linoleum. It's this battleship gray linoleum. It's kind of got this cloth backing. A lot of people watching this have probably done this in school, so people are somewhat familiar with it. They'll say to me, "Oh yeah, I did that when I was in 4th grade," and that's what's really great about Linocut is that it's something that's accessible to kids. But I mean, like Deborah's work back there, she does, her work has appeared in the Washington Post and the New York Times. I mean, you can do professional illustration work with it. I've got my favorite carving tools here. These fail tools, but these are a little bit expensive. I've also got, you can buy these simple little kits. I have them here. Where you can just these speedball kits, and they're great for just these introductory classes. So it doesn't cost much to get involved with it.
That sounds exciting.
You can see Deborah. She's just walked in the door with the dogs here.
Hi, Deborah. Hi, dogs. Well, that's exciting. I would love to take a class in that once that space opens. That's really cool.
Everybody kind of walks out with a piece of art.
Yeah. Are there any opportunities that area artists have right now to engage with Jester Art Space?
Yes. In fact, it's interesting. When we first started this out, we thought, like, okay, this is going to be great, but we're just going to end up getting all these artists involved in this. But geez, we're going to need like an architect. We're going to need accountants. We're going to need, an engineer, these professional people. How are we going to get, grown-ups like that? And we've had the exact opposite problem. We've gotten all, the engineer and the accountant and all those people because they're looking for some creative gig outside of their day job. Whereas the artists tend to be like, oh yeah, that's really interesting what you're doing, but well, I got my own studio, or I've got this other thing going on. So it's, I would say that to the artists is we really need you, especially if you've got that creative idea for a workshop, something you want to do. Love to hear about it. And then, things like we haven't really been able to think too hard about our jury process when the gallery is open, how exactly things are going to be chosen for exhibition. Things like that just still are up in the air. And again, there's, there are still nuts and bolts things. Oh, there's Deborah. Nuts and bolts things. Say hi. Yeah.
Hello.
There's nuts and bolts things like the fundraising and any other skills that people want to get involved with. It's been exciting. I've learned a lot about the construction trades that I never thought I would know. Basically, what we need is people who want to take ownership of something. People who are curious and willing to learn a new skill and willing to just take responsibility for it So I would say anybody who's interested in getting involved with this, don't feel that, oh, I don't have this skill or that skill. Let us know. Reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and the opportunities that Jester Art Space has, even now before it's even open. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Let's see. Anything else? One of the things you'd asked me before was if there was anything that we would have done differently. I think you'd send me a question about that. And, I have to say, not too much on that front. I feel like we did some really good things. Anybody else I think there are opportunities for nonprofits to take on some of these other structures and houses. And we would love to partner with anybody who feels inspired by that, whether it's for the arts or anything else. None of us had done anything like this before. And I think the things that we did right were just going to the library, getting books about this sort of stuff, talking with people who know more than we do, getting publicly available information about comparable organizations, publicly available 990 tax forms, looking at what's the financial environment that we were going to swim in. Where does the money come from for something like this? Who gives money to the arts in Delaware? Arts organizations, where do they get their money from? So we really learned a lot about that, and we're very eager to share it with anybody who might want to do something similar.
Wow, you're so open and excited about this process. It makes me want to start one at another farmhouse somewhere.
Well, we're all volunteers, so you're not doing me out of a job if you do something similar.
Yeah. Well, another part of the state. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Alan, for taking the time. And
really glad you reached out, Katie. Thank you.
And welcome back, everybody. Alan and Jester Art Space. I gotta tell you, when we got a chance to interview him, I had no idea that it even existed, and seeing the pictures of the place and seeing the restoration activities they're doing and all the effort they're putting in as volunteers and with Alan just at the helm has been a wonderful story to listen to. But on top of that, just another little place for art to thrive and come to life at. And I remember when I was sitting there listening to Katie and Alan talking, like, I was just invested in the conversation. I really wanted to talk, But I was kind of just holding back because I was like, all right, I'm just a tech director today. I don't want to say anything. But it was a really fun interview that he had, and I think it's going to be an excellent spot that they can end up doing a lot of cool art stuff. And on top of that, I'm just taking a look at the chat quick. I wanted to shout out Painter63 Girl. I'm hoping I'm reading that right. My eyes are a little bit weary, honestly. But I see that you're saying that you're going to buy a donor recognition brick for Jesser Art Space, and that's really awesome. Like, that's a great way to reinvest to them and be able to help out. But other than that, you know what time it is, right? It's time for another raffle. Katie, what do we got this time?
We got one more shirt and pin set. So let's see who's the lucky winner.
All right, let's get the wheel going. Spinning around. And it's going to stop on Eileen Murray. Congratulations. If you are in the chat, let us know. If not, we'll be emailing you rather soon on information about how to get the shirt, where to get it from if we're doing a drop-off location pickup, or address, ship it. Any of those options are available. And by the way, again, for any of you that are kind of like, you know, that t-shirt does look pretty snazzy and I really want one, they are still available on the website at DelawareFun-A-Day.com. And if you have any other questions about what sizes, what we can do for you, things of that nature, just let us know. And we're more than happy to be able to chime in and give you that great Delaware Fun-A-Day support that we always have. Now, taking a look here. Oh, it is the most fluffiest, soft t-shirt you will ever wear. And I was telling Katie this during the overall video that I was playing with Alan. If it wasn't for the fact that I literally had to get home from teaching kids to sit right down and get ready for this, I would totally be wearing my shirt right now. But my beard would probably be covering the logo, is what we were talking about. So, each their own. At least I got something on art and festive like I normally would. But with that being said, I believe the next interview and organization we want to talk about is one that I've been a part of on and off for many years. And this is the Newark Arts Alliance. Now, over the years, the Newark Arts Alliance, since I've been kind of doing minor exhibits with Meredith or planning shows with them, it's another place where it's just an abundance of passion, creativity, and just intellectual conversations on top of that. And Newark Arts Alliance also has this amazing little store inside of their gallery and shop that ends up being something that members of the overall organization can put their work into. And it's just another great opportunity. They usually are doing tons of different events, which you'll see in the upcoming video. And speaking of the upcoming video, it's kind of full circle for us. Because back when Meredith and I first started doing stuff with Newark Arts Alliance, the director at the time was Linda Majewski. Shout out to Linda, by the way, who is in the chat, or was, as Paper Greenhouse. We worked with Linda on a lot of different collaborations and efforts for Newark Arts Alliance, including rebranding their website from top to bottom. But after Linda ended up retiring and joined the First Aid Craft Guild, there you go, shout out back to Marcy and the crew, Terry Foreman came back over and started becoming the director of the Newark Arts Alliance, which is full circle because for those of you that are trying to follow along with the history of Delaware Fun-A-Day, it was actually Terry that was the creative director of the Center for the Creative Arts the first year that we held it there. So now Terry switches roles over to the Newark Arts Alliance and is still doing amazing things over there. Not only have they been doing a lot of community efforts and give back consistently, but on top of that, they also are another pickup and drop-off location for us at Delaware Fun-A-Day. So we really thank you for that as well. Now, before we get into this video with Terry, I will give another warning that this was the second video where we had some minor audio trouble. You will hear some echoing due to the fact that there was minor double echo recorded. So at this time, I would suggest go ahead, turn your volume down just a little bit so as you listen to the video, you can bring it up to an appropriate level for your ears. It won't blow them out or anything, but it sounds just a little bit strange. Again, my personal apologies for it, since I was the one that was doing all the recording and editing. But other than that rant that I just went off on, Katie, is there anything else you would like to include before we start the video with Terry?
I guess just that after we recorded the video, an opportunity at the Arts Alliance came up for a fundraiser for them to paint birdhouses.
Ooh.
So if you are interested in painting a birdhouse, I think the deadline to sign up for it is coming up shortly. So check out their website. It's a really cool fundraiser. And yeah, let's hear from Terry.
All right, here we go. We'll see you after.
Hello. So we have the very awesome Terry Foreman joining us this evening. Terry is the executive director over at the Newark Arts Alliance in Delaware. Welcome, Terry.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Terry is wonderful, and of course I'm joined by my co-lead Katie LeCocq here, who's going to be my co-host for the whole evening, and we're going to be asking Terry some questions to get to know the Newark Arts Alliance better. So, Terry, why don't you start us off by telling us a little about the Newark Arts Alliance?
Well, there's a lot to tell. It's never a simple sentence or two. There's so much going on here. The first thing is that we have a space in downtown Newark, and in that space we have a main gallery where we have featured shows every month, and they change. Sometimes they're 1- and 2-person shows, and other times they're open call shows with themes. And everyone's invited to submit their work for these shows, so there's no geographical limitations to that. Anybody, anywhere, any experience or background can submit their work. Then we have an adjacent gallery, which is our members gallery. And if you join for $35 a year, you can submit your work and have it sold in a gallery shop. We have a classroom where we teach classes and camps. And just as you'd imagine, all kinds of workshops and things go on in there. We do work out in the community. We have a program called Art to Go, where we bring artwork into neighborhood schools, parks, community events, and usually we offer a free art project for kids. And sometimes the adults join in too, and we encourage that. So it's for that true Renaissance kid, and even if they're not a Renaissance kid, we'll turn them into one after 2 weeks. Let's see, we do murals, public art in the community. Let's see, we participate in community events whenever we can. So like when there used to be Newark Night, or we've been having Main Street alfresco events, we try to include as many people as we can in every way possible. So we're not an organization that just allows, people who go to school for art to display their work. Any of our shows, anyone can come in and submit their work for consideration. I think we treat our environment very importantly. We really want to bring art out into the community, and we really want the arts to be non-intimidating. We don't want people to be shy about coming into the gallery and see art. And by bringing murals in the community, we can kind of bring art to people. Even if they never come and visit our space, they will see art out in the Main Street landscape and beyond. So I think that's a way of kind of making the arts really inviting, really easy to access, and not intimidating. We don't want people to think that, art's not for me, I don't know anything about it. Don't have to know anything about art. Just come on in, check it out, bring your kids, it doesn't matter, welcome everyone. And that's really our mission, is just to make art super friendly and user-friendly, I guess is the way to put it.
I think Katie would agree with me. Definitely that aligns with our viewpoints on art, making it accessible to everybody, regardless of age, regardless of skill set or experience level, just lifting the veil a little bit on art and on exhibiting in particular, and showing that anybody is welcome to try this at any time in their life, whether they feel that they have innate ability or not. Come and experience and join in and learn something, and experience the art world in a very welcoming way.
I agree. I mean, my whole life has been spent in community arts programming of some kind or another. And very often I hear people say, oh, well, I'm not the talented one in my family. I can't draw a thing. Like they make these statements kind of saying how the arts are not part of their lives. And as if they were blessed with some magic star that made them instantly become an artist. And I always try to encourage them to just try their hand at something. You don't have to draw. If you don't want to draw, take a picture. If you don't want to take a picture, maybe make a mosaic or a collage. There's so many ways to be creative, and you shouldn't feel that if you've never taken an art class or never learned how to draw, that somehow you're excluded from experiencing arts. My husband's an engineer, and I'm forced to make art from time to time. And I'm always, amazingly impressed by the things he comes out with when he really uses up his mind, think creatively. So I think that's true of everyone and anyone, and I think everyone is on their own little creative journey, and you just have to jump on that path and start following it and see where it takes you. Don't feel intimidated, just try something creative.
That's excellent. And so I think some people might not know this, but Terry, you've actually been the executive director at Newark Arts Alliance in years past, and you've had other roles, but you were actually the director at the Center for Creative Arts the first year that Delaware Fun-A-Day moved to the Center for Creative Arts and exhibited there, and now you're back at Newark Arts Alliance. So it's been really fun, at least for me. You've been at both locations. So I wanted to, I guess, share that with everybody and kind of, that was a really fun back and forth. So Center for Creative Arts is awesome. Newark Arts Alliance is awesome. And both have been very supportive of Delaware Fun-A-Day in the last so many years. And we're super appreciative of that. So let's talk a little bit. I'm formulating a question here. I guess I wanted to kind of ask you about your past experience with Delaware Fun-A-Day and why, I guess, you opened the doors to us at the Center for Creative Arts. And can you kind of expand on that? Because I think you were a participant and you loved our show and you offered for us to come to Center for Creative Arts. And am I right? I'm making a lot of sense.
So even before Center for Creative Arts, I worked at Delaware Contemporary for 3 years, and I managed the front desk and the store there. And I remember really well the Delaware Fun-A-Day shows there at that location and how popular they were, how many people came who were excited, and it was just wonderful shows with all different ages, all different backgrounds, all different kinds of people participating. And I thought, wow, this is really exciting. And all these artists are coming together and seeing each other's work and very often socializing during receptions as they're meeting each other. Everyone was kind of admiring each other's work, and I thought, wow, how many art receptions really have that in such a huge amount? Most art receptions maybe have 30 guests and maybe 5 artists, but this is like hundreds and hundreds of guests and hundreds and hundreds of artists. So it was kind of like an art love-in or something. It was crazy. So I love those events when I saw them in action at Delaware Contemporary. And then when I moved over to CC Arts, I thought, wow, it would be great to have something like that here, because the Center for Creative Arts is a little isolated. It's a little off the edge. People have to really work hard to find it. And I thought this is a great way to bring all kinds of people to the Center for Creative Arts. And so I think it was a super win for CC Arts. I think they were thrilled with the turnout. The board was loving it. They gave tours to everyone who visited. Anybody wanted a tour. And they really loved the response and how many people participated. And it was just very exciting for everyone there when that happened. So, yeah, I really hope we can continue to do that. And we would love to have something like that here at our places. It's really big enough. We've got way too many artists to fit in. But,
I will say, last year, what do you think, Katie? We kind of maxed out the space last year.
I don't think we could have got one more project in.
We were trying really hard. And it's a great, Center for Creative Arts is a great space. And so is Newark Arts Alliance, but like you said, much, much smaller. We'd have to scale the show down. And as you know, our whole thing is we want to try to fit in everybody's work. If they took on the challenge and they created a piece every day or just about as many days as they could, we want to try to honor that and show it physically in a show. And this year is breaking all the barriers because we're 100% virtual. So it's totally weird for this year in particular anyway. No, but that's, and so just to go back to what you were saying, Terry, you know, it was so wonderful and inviting of you to bring us over to CC Arts. And that's been a great venue for the last 2 years, I think, that we exhibited there. So, you know, thank you, you know, for introducing us to the space and for introducing all of the participants to the space, because while the contemporary is beautiful and really wonderful, it's nice to spread the love around the state of Delaware a little bit more. So we were more northern, and we don't know, you know, where we might go in the future, but we're thinking.
Oh, I wish our space was 10 times the size it was so we could host a year. I mean, it would be wonderful. What you do is exactly the kind of thing that we love to have happen in our space, is events with a lot of excitement, a lot of community involvement, and a good response. You know, that people come out and they support it on who we are and participating, and that's like the ideal of what we hope to achieve in our events. So I really enjoy what we've been able to do.
Thank you. And you're so welcoming and so helpful. You know, the first year that we were at Center for Creative Arts, I was organizing alone that year, and you really, I mean, I can't express enough my gratitude and appreciation for just how amazing you were to me in bringing me in and taking me under your wing and really giving us the run of the space. Which is so wonderful. You weren't restrictive at all. You let us get away with all kinds of things. And then later, the director that's there currently now, Melissa, let us get away with a lot as well. So it's been fun, and we appreciate it. And you're so welcoming and so helpful. You know, the first year that we were at Center for Creative Arts, I was organizing alone that year, and you really, I mean, I can't express enough my gratitude and appreciation for just how amazing you were to me in bringing me in and taking me under your wing and really giving us the run of the space. Which is so wonderful. You weren't restrictive at all. You let us get away with all kinds of things. And then later, the director that's there currently now, Melissa, let us get away with a lot as well. So it's been fun, and we appreciate it. The things that we want to talk about tonight is some of the upcoming events and things that Newark Arts Alliance has coming up. So I'm actually going to show everybody the Newark Arts Alliance events page right now. I'm going to pull that up in just a second here.
All right, folks. Hopefully you had a good time watching Newark Arts Alliance. We originally had a longer interview with them, but as I stated earlier, we had a little bit of audio issues on our end. You should totally go check out Newark Arts Alliance and everything Terry does up there. The gallery is always stunning, always being changed into new events, new exhibitions. And on top of that, they're still constantly doing events, even through the pandemic and around it, and still being safe. So you can't go wrong with that. But does Newark Arts Alliance have a special raffle gift to show? What do we got, Katie?
Indeed they do. We've got a very wonderful family membership, which is worth $60.
$60.
And a gift certificate for $75 towards a class. So, who's going to be our lucky winner?
Well, only the wheel knows, so let's give it a spin. As it goes around, where's it going to stop? It's going to stop on Kabel Ayan Renaga. Congratulations on the win. If you're in the chat, let us know. If not, we'll be emailing you momentarily as the night is slowly but surely ending in, I guess, what we would call the twilight hour now. We're on our last hour already, believe it or not. Yeah, time just has been going by really quick. I mean, just like my hairline. Ooh, was that too mean? I had to joke about myself a little bit, right? You know, all fun and games, laugh with everybody. But speaking of which, now I'm going to go ahead and let Katie take over because the next organization that we have to talk about is another amazing opportunity that you might not know even exists, but it is fantastic. So go ahead when you're ready, Katie.
So we're going to be talking to Jessie Glasgow from the Route 9 Library and Innovation Center. And they've got there a amazing resource called a makerspace. And it's chock full of toys that are just mind-blowing. They've got loads of, well, not loads. They have several 3D printers. They've got a computerized CNC router, so you can do like crazy shapes and things into pieces of wood. They've got a laser cutter. They've got sewing machines. They've got a sound and video editing studio. They've got, what else do they have? They have soldering machines. If you want to learn how to fix some electronics, you can go and do that. So it's just an amazing resource, and it's open to anyone that has a library card. So it's gorgeous, and they not only are like a physical location that is always helping Fun-A-Day, but they also participated this year. So they the library did a collaborative piece where they taught a virtual class on how to design paper flowers in the silhouette program, because they have silhouette cutters, which are a computerized cutter that can cut paper or vinyl. And then participants sent in their designs, and because the library is physically closed, well, it has been physically closed. So they sent them in, and Jessie cut them all out, and they're up in the window. And if you go down Route 9 in Newcastle, you can take a look at just this profusion of marvelous colors, and it's just really happy. It's really fun. So anyhow, let's hear from Jessie.
All right, let's get into the happiness. We'll see you after the video.
Hi, we're here now with Jessie Glasgow, the manager of the Route 9 Library and Innovation Center's Makerspace in Newcastle, Delaware. Hello and welcome, Jessie.
Hi.
We'd like to know how people are connected to Delaware. Are you a resident, born and raised? And what opportunities have you found here?
Oh, I am from Delaware, but actually I moved to New York right after I finished school, because that's what you do when you finish school for artists, you know, you move to New York. But actually I came back after the first Maker Fair in New York City. At that, I really experienced that people in the maker community, which was really sort of beginning at the time, the sort of DIY, everyone's welcome. I just really loved the atmosphere. So when you went to Maker Fair and you saw somebody with a robot, you could ask them like, oh my gosh, how did you make that? And they would say, oh, you want to know? Oh my gosh, here's how we do it. Here's all the things I did wrong. Don't do these things. You know, make your own next year and bring it back so I can see what you do with this information. Everybody is super encouraging and patient. I thought I would spend the whole time on, like, it was divided back then into like an art side and a tech side. And I'm like, I don't belong over on the tech side. I spent most of the time on the tech side because everybody was so nice and I was learning so much. So a lot of the exhibitors at the first Maker Fair in New York were from New York City makerspaces. So I saw that we already had a lot of those there, but we don't have anything like that in Delaware. People didn't even know what Maker was or Makerspace or anything like that. So I came back to Delaware to start a maker group, Barrel of Makers, with some of my friends from school. That all led to this library because we were asked to consult on building this makerspace, which is great. We always worked with the libraries because we would have the people who wanted to share knowledge, but the libraries have the space and the computer labs and everything, so it worked out. It's a perfect partnership.
Oh, that's gorgeous. It sounds very in line with that maker kind of mentality that you were talking about, how the sharing and exploring together is really a foundation of that movement.
Yeah, and the library, definitely.
Yeah. Perfect partnership, like you said. So you manage the makerspace at the Route 9 Library, and it's the first library in Delaware to have a makerspace. Can you tell us a little bit about what a makerspace is and how the community can use its resources?
Okay, so a lot of the libraries have, classes that like barrel makers will drop in and do. They have some equipment that they can bring out for a class. This is the only space where everything is in this location around me, and we have things that are permanent, like the laser. You have to have a space for a laser and exhaust and that kind of thing. So this library, because it was built with the idea of having a makerspace, it's more equipped. There's also lots of crazy exhausts. People always ask me what those are behind me. That's exhaust. So we teach soldering, melting metal. That creates some fumes. So we turn on the exhaust, as well as around the 3D printers and that kind of thing. The other difference there is a lot of the libraries have 3D printers. You currently can put in a request to have things 3D printed from the library. During COVID, we'll do free prints up to 5 hours. But usually when we're open, I don't want people to just put in an STL and I print it. I want you to know how to print it. So that's the difference, is here you learn how to use all the tools yourself. And you have to do an orientation, just because if you think all you want to use is the Adobe software, when you come in the space and I show you all of the things that you can do, you're going to realize that's not all you want to do. And so I really want people to know what's possible. And also, you meet people then, so you know someone in the space already because you met them at orientation. And also, there's one more thing I feel like about the orientation. Some of the stuff is dangerous. So if you're coming in to use the Adobe programs, or you're coming in just to use the sewing machine, you want to be aware that someone else is using a laser or cutting wood with the CNC machine behind you. So you're aware of that. You need to be very careful and respectful of space. So
that sounds fair.
Just safety reasons, it's good to do. But once you've done the orientation, you'll remember, and then you can come in during open hours, which are different every week when we're open, and work on your own projects.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's so you mentioned a 5-hour print, 3D print. About what size of something would that be?
This is really hard. Actually, I'm working on a website right now to show people how they can test the object that they want to print and see how long it might take. Because if you have a large thing but it's hollow, it won't take that long. Yeah. But if you have a small thing that's very detailed, let's slow down the printer to get those details. So it could take a long time. I printed some action figures, and you have to work very carefully with those, and they take way longer because you're trying to get the face to come out, and it's very hard. So I am working on that site, but the library will go back and forth with you. So there's a form on the website, on the library's different homepages, like the Route 9 homepage, and you can say which library you want to pick it up from. And the person who does the printing at that library will go back and forth with you and talk about if you need to shrink it or split it up into pieces or whatever. They'll figure it out with you.
Wow. So does every library have a 3D printer, or just a select number?
Well, every library has a 3D printer, I believe, in Newcastle County. Not all of them have signed up for this program where you do the 5 hours for free. So, but you'll see a list of which ones are doing it.
Understood.
Some people are too short-staffed to have time. COVID things.
Yes. Understood. Can you talk about some of the experiences you've had starting and running a makerspace in the library, and some of your favorite experiences that Rural has provided?
The orientation is one of the best things, because I get to welcome people in, and everyone comes in with something pretty much that they already make. People are in the middle of creating guitar pedals or inventions for 3D printing, all kinds of stuff that they come in with. Everyone's got something. So the cool thing about that is everybody who comes in has something to teach and something to learn. It's like most everyone, and then some people come in and they say, oh, I don't know what I want to make. And that's great too. I'm like, oh, you're at the beginning. That's the most exciting place to be. Here's all the things. That's great. So either way, it's really cool. But it's nice to be able to make those connections, because then you even find within one orientation of 10 people, somebody's working on something and someone else is working on a complementary project, and they'll end up working together. That's what's really cool about this. The lab really is just sort of another tool for getting people together. It's all about making those connections. And so this is a place where you can gather and you can share tools. But the most important thing is that you can share each other's knowledge. Because everybody is super nice and will be happy to help you out. That's really the beauty of it. Is more about the people than the space. Like, it's very cool to have a laser. That sounds very cool. And that's probably one thing that draws people into the space. But I've found over and over again that what people really want is to find people who also love to make things.
I love it. And your the library actually did a Fun-A-Day piece, and it sort of was in that spirit where people collaborated and came together.
Trying to think of a collaborative project we could do remotely, and it took us a while. So the Fun-A-Day thing finally brought it together, where I could teach a class about how to make flowers in Silhouette Studio, which is a free software. And then people could make whatever they wanted and send it to me, and I would just cut them out, which is kind of cool. So the digital designs, when I put them on Fun-A-Day, I put the digital design that the person made, and then I put the finished flower after it was cut out. Sometimes I had to change colors because we didn't have whatever color, but for the most part, they look really similar. I have yours. Katie's was very challenging.
You know, that's how I do it.
I wanted hers to be like very three-dimensional. So I did lots of like curving and curling. Everybody likes it. Cool. The library staff is like, what? Who did that? But so yeah, I have some that I didn't hang up yet. I will, I think, this maybe on Friday, feel comfortable climbing up on the windowsill and hanging them up.
Oh, that's right, because you hurt.
I hurt my knees, so. But yeah, so I have some that.
Gosh, that's beautiful.
And you mentioned Kim Gibbons and Laura and Jack. They did some really complex ones, so I learned a lot in cutting theirs.
That's all paper.
Work. It's all paper. So I learned a lot in doing those ones. I learned why you need tweezers to do paper crafts. I was teasing Kim, like, you helped me figure this out. Thanks so much. Yeah, these are ones I haven't put up yet. It's like a sakura flower.
Yeah.
So they're all really different. Everybody's are really different.
And I love how colorful and bright they are. They'll look really
everything's
whoa, those are really dimensional.
Daffodils.
They look good from the window.
Yeah, and dogwood, which also has a little dimension to it. Yeah, it's been really cool to see what people send. They are. You can kind of make all kinds of stuff, which is this cool rotation and duplicate tool that we got to learn. And I learned stuff while I was making the class, so that was really cool. That's always fun. Oh yeah, you had asked me about experiences when people. I work really hard on the classes, and I probably work too hard on them and go too into detail and take close-ups and explain. But when people are able to do something they didn't think they could do, it's so great, because I want to give people confidence and empower them that, oh, you thought you could do paper crafts, but actually you can do technology too. So the class that I just taught with the little card,
Oh,
Wishes. Yeah, that one. Someone finished it and said, "I'm so proud of myself. You have no idea." It's and it's not easy. This is the circuit, and the tape is really temperamental and everything. So you have to get it right for it to work.
And you're just closing a circuit with the copper tape there to light the LEDs that make his cheeks glow.
Yeah. The flap is the switch, basically, because you don't want it to be on all the time on your card and I did it this way because you could hold his hand, so it's a little COVID relief card. You can hold somebody's hand. It's a cartoon.
That's so cool.
I was so nervous about that class because the copper tape will rip, bad stuff will happen, the LED legs will snap off, but everybody got it. They were very excited. So that's the kind of thing I usually do, classes that combine sort of a soft skill like paper craft or sewing with technology. So it's not something that's so foreign to people, and it can go either way. So some people who know technology don't know how to sew or so they want to learn that. So it works out either way. Someone's learning new skills. It's pretty cool.
That is so neat. And you have a lot of your you're not the only one that teaches classes. Other Makerspace members teach skills that they have too.
Katie does classes. For us. Yes.
But many other makers do as well.
Yeah. So, because the nice thing about the Makerspace too is that I don't have to know everything. People have their specialties. So we have 2 3D printers here, but we have people who at their houses have 5 different ones. So if I get stuck and I can't fix it, I know who to ask. And some people come in with a specialty. I have a gentleman helping me with our CNC, which is a computer numerical control router. If you know about a router, it's like a drill, but instead of just going down, it can go through your wood to create slots, and like take a hole out of the middle without you having to cut through anything, that kind of thing. So he has one of those. He's helping me with teaching how to use it. But when he joined the group, he wanted to learn how to use Arduino. He wanted to do electronics. So everybody just wants to branch into a new thing and has something they can tell you about at the same time, and that I can refer people to when I don't have the answer. People are the best resource in this lab for sure.
Truth, man, that is definitely the truth. So all of your classes right now are virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it must be challenging to have a mission of engaging the public with all the libraries being closed. So,
yeah, basically my job is making these connections between people and having people be part of a community here and make things together.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been doing a pretty good job with doing that online, and we've met people from different states, and that way everybody can join and you can do classes from all the libraries wherever you want. It doesn't matter at this point. So making a lot of new friends, which is cool. And we've been able to do these collaborative projects. So we just did the flowers, and then one of our members asked for our help with making lantern fly traps. She lives in Arden, and apparently Arden's having a really rough time with the lantern flies attacking their trees.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of people in the group who are engineers or just want to do hands-on stuff, and we'll figure out and make some traps for them and try them out. And then if they don't work, whatever doesn't work about them, we'll fix them. It'll be a back and forth experiment for a bit, but we'll be helping other people in the community. So that will be really cool. We have a Slack channel where we're just kind of going back and forth on it right now. Mm-hmm. And Slack is nice because it's just people who want to talk about the lanternfly trap or different collaborative projects can join it, but you can't have people from outside just coming in, finding out everybody's email or anything like that. It's like a private chat. That works out really well.
So, you have to go through the orientation to become a member of the Makerspace, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a virtual orientation right now that people can do?
I've been meaning to work on that. I've been meaning to work on it because I think it could work. I don't see why not. It's just like I've been editing videos from different programs so much that I haven't had time to edit those videos. I did one about how to use the silhouette, and I'm trying to do one for each piece, because even if you are a member and you've taken a class on that equipment, you probably don't remember. So you need to make little refresher courses for everything.
Excellent. I mean, clearly you haven't been in there for over a year now, so I don't know that I would remember how to use the laser cutter or anything. So that would be a great resource.
And people who aren't members, they still see our classes on the library calendar. We have a virtual calendar for all the Newcastle County libraries. So you can find us if you just look for maker programs, and you can join in. It's all virtual right now, so it's all good. That's for everyone. It's not like anyone's hands-on with the equipment right now, so it's all good.
Well, speaking of the equipment, what's your favorite piece of equipment that you have at the makerspace there that's available for people non-COVID times?
Well, right now I'm excited about the CNC because I haven't really used it yet. But I think the laser really excites people the most because not many people have that in their house.
Yeah, it's
actually really pretty safe. It just has the laser shoots straight down and burns things. So this is a piece of
wood, or it's a piece of.
This is a piece of wood. But this is a mistake one where someone did it and they didn't do a test cut first, so it didn't go all the way through. But it's kind of cool because it shows this is like before, and then this is after. It's this like pterodactyl dude.
Whoa.
He's pretty cool. So even though the laser really only cuts flat things, you can make 3D things if you are creative about it. That maker also did cut this out of flat acrylic, but then he put it on a bowl in his oven and cooked it. Hanging down and just was like playing with the side, so he made a 3-dimensional object that way.
Nice.
Fit together like puzzle pieces and that kind of stuff. But it can do very intricate things that would take a long time to do, if you were doing an X-Acto blade, this kind of thing. These were little lanterns. Especially if you don't mind a little bit of a singe on the edge of your paper. It looks really cool, actually.
It does look cool. Yeah. That you can't get with an X-Acto blade, so.
Yeah, so the lasers is really cool. But yeah, the CNC will be interesting. It's a lot of math. It's a lot more math than I thought it would be.
Back in those days when your math teacher was like, "You'll use this," and you're like, "I'll never use this." Well, your math teacher's getting their just desserts here.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of equations.
Yeah.
Solving for X. So, yeah. I'll try to make it easy for everyone. That's the mission. But I mean, I think you could tell my favorite resource in the lab is the people. You mentioned everybody teaches classes. Like Tom is an electrical engineer. He's taught classes for us about the basics of electronics, and people teach whatever they're willing to share, which is most things. So it's pretty cool.
What is the best way for people to connect with the makerspace right now?
Definitely, if they want to join the Slack channel, they could email me. I don't know if you can put my email somewhere.
Yeah,
if they want to join the Slack and just go back and forth with people. A lot of times people just post projects on there and say what they're working on right now. We'll also have maker chats. So if you've never come to a maker program, definitely come. But also we'll just do chats where we catch up and see what each other's working on and kind of do like a show and tell. And people will help each other with projects during those lunchtime chats too. There was something else I feel like. I thought about all these questions last week and now. And now I'm like, oh no. But yeah, definitely. Oh, the other thing is you can still take out a lot of things from the Maker Lab. It used to be you had to come into the lab to use them. But right now, you can check out a couple of our sewing machines. You can check out the silhouette machine that cuts paper and vinyl. And you can check out Arduino kits and try to teach yourself electronics and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of stuff that's in the catalog that didn't used to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You can search for it by searching LOT, the Library of Things, in the Delaware Library catalog. Yeah, Library of Things isn't just maker things either. It's like board games, all kinds of stuff, binoculars. No. Yeah, all kinds of things.
Cool. So you are an artist yourself, and not just in charge of the maker.
Mhm.
And you have participated in this year's Delaware Fun-A-Day and past Fun-A-Days. Can you tell us a little bit about your own project? And was there one that you did in the past that stands out from the others?
This year we tried to keep it really simple because we've had a couple times where we just couldn't finish anything, so we dropped out of it, you know. This year we just went through like art books and stuff that we had and like photography books and added googly eyes to things to sort of change the story of the dynamic between the people or the objects. So we just got little googly eyes and went through everything and that's what we did. It was really fun to do.
Yeah, that's totally embodies the spirit of Fun-A-Day.
Yeah, we tried to make sure if it was a piece of artwork that we included the artist name when we took the picture, so we could see that as well, because we didn't make everything. We just put googly eyes on stuff. That's it. The best thing we did was we did a mean, like sort of a mean-spirited tea. If you've heard of like those yogi teas where you have your morning tea and it has a nice message for you, and we had terrible messages in ours. So we did a terrible message every day to attach to a tea bag.
I love it.
It was really fun. It was stuff like about how you're more likely to get crushed by, I think it was being crushed by a soda machine, like a vending machine, than you are in the lottery. Really horrible stuff like that.
It uplifts you, gives you a good direction for the day.
I just like how fun a day can be anything. My favorite one that someone else did, I've told you, is they did sort of a thing they dared themselves to do every day. Like they faced a fear. And they just took pictures of themselves, like, oh, they're up on a high building, and took a picture of themselves because they were afraid of heights. And that was their fun for that day. That was really, really cool. And you wouldn't think of that as, it's not a painting, but it's an expression of who you are. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see all the crazy stuff people do.
Yeah. That's the best part, man. Just the incredible variety and depth that everyone brings to the table. Thank you, Jessie, so much.
Yeah, sure.
And welcome back, everybody. Shout out to the Route 9 Makerspace Center. By the way, if you haven't got up there yet, you're missing out. When they open, at least, definitely get up there. But the money is well worth being able to use all the innovative technologies. And on top of that, the one thing that Delaware Fun-A-Day has been well known for all these years is community. They have community out the wazoo. There are so many different educational ideas and ways to go about working in the makerspace that a lot of the people that are inside of it will be able to preach and teach you just because they love doing the tinkering stuff and creation, that you're going to learn a whole ton of stuff up there. Even if you're only up there for one thing, it's going to turn into like 20 things if you go up there. So you better be ready not to just go in for one straight line. You're going to learn a whole ton of stuff. But with the last interview video of the night, what is the last raffle prize we're going to be giving out tonight, Katie?
We've got a really cool raffle prize. But just real quick, I just want to say, just a second ago, Brandon mentioned the money is well worth it. Now we were doing a little bit of the chat. There was someone from out of state who was asking if they could participate with the library. And so the answer was yes, you just have to pay an annual fee to be a part of the library if you're not a Delaware resident. But if you're a Delaware resident, all you need is a library card. So just to make sure that was clear. So we've got, and first, actually, before I do the raffle, I just want to shout out the names of the participants for the collaborative flower window. And I'm going to completely butcher most of these names. So we've got Audrey Urchin, Becky Guten, Carol Newberger, Deb Prohanska, Jessie Glasgow, Lauren Kim Givens, Patricia Benton, Raymond Taylor, Sarah Morales, and Vanny, I'm about to horribly mispronounce your last name, Kasavarapu.
I think that sounds about spot on, although I don't have the actual name in front of me, but that sounded really nice.
And I guess I contributed a few flowers too. So these people all came together to make this one big project, and so that's awesome. I just wanted to say their names because like on the participants list, it's not separated out, they're just mixed in alphabetically, so that's really cool. So the raffle prize was one that actually, it's some of my favorite things. I picked.
What could it be?
I love to use watercolor. So I picked a set of my very favorite watercolors. M-gram watercolors. You've got sort of your basic colors that you can start a whole painting with. And we've got a nice set of brushes here. And I personally like the synthetic. Some people like the natural hair ones. I like the synthetic ones that because they kind of snap back into the shape. So I personally only use like the round ones, but I got the set that had a nice variety, so nobody will be limited. And a pack of Arches watercolor paper. So this lovely, lovely watercolor starter set is for. Let's see.
All right, raffle wheel, last one of the night. Watercolor extravaganza raffle package. Let's see what we got. The wheel's spinning around. Where's it stop? Nobody's going to know. And congratulations to the winner, who is Kenneth Brown. Kenneth Brown, if you're here tonight, feel free to let us know. We'll be emailing you shortly if you're not. And you'll be getting the watercolor extravaganza set that Katie just showcased on stream. Now go ahead.
Watercolor, it's a great Christmas present.
It's an excellent Christmas present and one that can lead to a lot of new artistic journeys and expeditions. So shout out to Katie for donating that wonderful set, by the way.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Now, go ahead. You're good.
Well, we were the last interview we had was about a collaborative project. And collaborative projects are very near and dear to my heart, so I like to showcase them. I kind of started out in theater, which is kind of the ultimate collaborative art form. So we had one more, we had a few different participants that were like 1 and 2 people, and that was super awesome. But there was one more that had a really big number of participants, and that was Servium Girls Academy. Under the direction of Miss Thomas, her 5th and 6th grade class, we're given some time each day to just unfiltered, just make something with the prompt through our eyes. And we've got a little video of a few of them, of 3 of them, talking about their project. I do want to say just a little bit earlier, Cabell, one of the raffle winners, actually did a piece, and I'm gonna show you really quick. This is her piece. It's gorgeous. And what she wrote about it is, one of my many inspirations is my teacher. Can't appreciate God enough for letting me meet someone like her. She is always there for me, and it means a lot. Every morning she wakes up to teach me something new, and thanks to her, I am where I am today, which is super sweet. And then the girls that did the video, there was one of the young ladies who really wanted to record a video and talk about her piece, but she was still finishing up some work, so we didn't want to interrupt the academic instruction because that's very important. But so I wanted to show off this one. This is one of her pieces, and what she wrote about it is, "This heart is the world. It's broken over 2020 and 2021. Our new president, Joe Biden, is trying to heal the world, aka the Band-Aids. Kamala Harris is the headphones who brings beauty to our ears." So I just wanted to, even though it would have sounded much better coming from her, but I just wanted her to get the shout out she was looking to give. So, Brandon, would you please play the video that the ladies did?
Yes, and just before we go in that video, one minor word of caution. With the way that the program that we are using works, it should immediately start on their video. If the video plays over a little bit, it will go on to another Delaware Fun-A-Day participant, but I'm hoping to have that stop before that happens. But just wanted to let everybody know before we switch over. So let me get it ready for everyone at home.
All right, hello ladies. These are all students at Servium Girls Academy. And what grade are you ladies in?
6th.
Very nice. And you guys have been participating in the Delaware Fun-A-Day this year, I understand, in your class. What class are you doing this in?
Miss Thomas, our ELA class.
Very nice. And you guys want to talk about your favorite piece you've done so far?
Yes.
All right. So, Maddie, I think you're gonna go first, right?
I drew a compass because the compass symbolizes direction, and direction is special, and most people don't know where they're going in this world or in this life, and it's showing that you actually can go somewhere and you have a chance.
That's beautiful. Mia, did you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I drew a glass ceiling because when we're going through our obstacles and challenges in life, then we're on a glass ceiling and it just can't seem to break. But going and overcoming the challenges is breaking the glass ceiling, which means it's justice.
You guys are just amazing. That is so insightful. Carla, do you want to talk about your piece?
Sure. So I drew a heart that has an angel and a devil on one side. Because when you meet someone, they might seem nice, but you never know that they're mean. And when you start getting to know them better and they start treating you badly, then you're really noticing what bad a person is instead of the nicer side that you met.
Wow, that sounds like you have had some interesting experiences in your life. Well, I am so impressed by your guys, both your artwork and your insights, and I am so grateful that you are participating in Fun-A-Day. Are you enjoying it so far?
Yes.
Yeah? Are you excited that for the month to be over, to be done, or you wish you could keep going?
Keep going.
Cool. Well, thank you ladies so much for taking the time to talk with me today, and happy making. You keep going. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back everybody. I'm going to hand it right on over to Katie to talk about that video and some more information.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that the kids are going to have their art up at the gallery at Grace United Methodist Church, and that's through Lumina Arts, which is actually, now that they're going back to having socially distanced and masked art loop events, looking for artists to participate. So if you're interested in showing your work, you can reach out to Vanessa Simon at vanessa@luminaarts.org, and that's a Vanessa with one S. So it's VANESA at LUMINA arts.org. So that's really cool. And they also actually are going to be having a, much like Newark Arts Alliance and CC Arts are going to be having a wintertime artist and artisan market. So if you'd like to participate in that, also reach out to Vanessa, and that'll be in December. So that's a cool opportunity there. And that is kind of all the meaty stuff that we already had planned. So now we would love to hear from all of you to see if you have any questions that we can answer.
We figured being able to open up the floor to kind of like a Q&A for the last 15 or 20 minutes would be a really good idea. We've been capturing some of your questions throughout the overall stream tonight, but we know that normally you get to congregate and get to talk to one another when it comes to this event. And we know, even though it's been kind of strange this year with being virtual, we still wanted to give you the presence of being able to ask questions like you were in person with us. Anything is on the table. Just feel free to type it in the chat and we'll read it back. Just to give like a few other things I see in chat right now, not necessarily questions, but statements, because I know, Katie, you can't really see many of the comments right now because you're just going with the flow, so to speak. Is Route 9 Library said, very talented students for the Servium girls. We have, I believe it was, I know she said her name earlier and I would have to look it up really quick. So correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I want to say it was Kathy Glazer, I believe, said, and if I had your name wrong, my apologies. But wow, the Servium girls, I never thought that deeply with my art when I was their age.
Oh, right?
Wendy ended up saying, I love the Delaware Fun-A-Day project and it's great to see students working on it too. Which is a really good point because the last few years we've actually been kind of, honored to have some classrooms from across Delaware have students do their work. And this year the Servium girls ended up bringing it to the table. I think they were part of it last year too, if I remember correctly.
No, we didn't get one together last year. This is our first year participating.
Okay, well, hey, like we always want, new artists, new communities coming on board for Delaware Fun-A-Day. Hopefully we see them again next year as well. I know last year it was my class that actually participated. We did a lot of digital art and illustration for Fun-A-Day, and they based it around retro video games, so that was on display. So that was pretty cool. Sandy Dragon ended up saying, yes, we love seeing their talent, loved hearing their thoughts and perceptions. If I get this wrong, I apologize, but Vivian Cameron, I believe, said, great job by Katie, Meredith, and Brandon, and all of the interviewees. You did a great job of representing all the wonderful art opportunities in our state. Love seeing everyone's projects. Thanks. So a lot of thanks to the overall organization is coming into play right now, which we greatly appreciate. I mean, first off, we couldn't do it unless if all of you artists participated, obviously. So, give a hats off and a pat on the back and a kudos to yourself. I mean, a lot of people, yes, round of applause. A lot of people, when it comes to the history of Delaware Fun-A-Day, there's a lot of times where people are breaking new barriers. They're breaking new boundaries. Some people are attempting new things that they never did before. I think it was pretty funny the other day. It might have been in that interview too. So chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it was Jesse that said there was someone that this year ended up doing a what I'm afraid of a day. So they kept taking photos and doing pieces of them doing something that they were trying to conquer as a fear. And I think one of them was like height, where they were on top of a building looking down. So it's just really creative, at least in my perspective, how the idea of art has translated into more than what we normally anticipate and learn when we're at a younger age, right? I know back when I was growing up, art was get your color pencils out, your materials, but art can be persuaded and moved in so many different lines of light that it's always incredible to see how the participants every year bring that to the table. And then let me take a look back here really fast. Route 9 Library said, agree, very interesting interviews and learned a lot about what is happening in the arts. Jesse said, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say there's so much more that we necessarily didn't know about. So I know there's more stuff happening out there. And if anybody knows of something going on, please let us know so we can help distribute that information. I think that the art scene here is such a beautiful place to make new friends and collaborations and partnerships that we want to know it all.
Every last little event, detail, exhibit, anything that you're a part of, we're always more than happy to support and try to give our backing to be able to get you new connections and channels and artists to collaborate with. Going back to the chat quick, Jesse said, yes, this is like a resource list for artists and curious artists to be. And then Kathy gave a round of applause as we were clapping a little bit earlier. Sandy ended up saying, I have a couple ideas that popped in my crazy little head. Want to go over them with you at Delaware Fun-A-Day. So if anybody does have like ideas, questions, concepts, any of that thought process, we're more than happy to discuss with any artists about them. The easiest way to literally grab our creative brain trust, which is Meredith, Katie, and myself, is just by emailing us at the Delaware Fun-A-Day email, because we're all pinged at the same time because we share the same main inbox. So I'm sure a lot of you during the time leading up to the event saw multiple different correspondences from the three of us trying to reply back to you. So we'd be more than happy to hear your ideas that are popping in your mind, Sandy. Just send them on over and we'll gladly write back, talk about them, and maybe we can create something out of them, which would be great. Linda Majewski just wrote, great evening. It was a lot of fun and interesting. Good job, everybody. Enjoy your evening. I am heading out for tonight. Linda, thank you for stopping by. Have a lovely night. Always appreciate you stopping by. Hope everything with the First Aid Craft Guild is going excellent. And I can't wait to see more of your work. I always love seeing Paper Greenhouse. I know that's you, so. And then let's see. We have Posada fan that said, has anything cool happened to any artist as a result of Delaware Fun-A-Day? Like got an invite to work on a project, art show, got a job, etc., or had their Fun-A-Day collection purchased? So I can speak to some of that. In the past, there have been a few times where some collections were just outright bought from people, and that happens every now and again. I think it even happened last year at Center for the Creative Arts. There was this type of like astronomical artwork that was done, and I'm pretty sure someone came in and swooped the whole collection from underneath our feet, so to speak, even though it was technically the artist's work, as you always know. We had a few years where some musicians went on to make more well-known local bands in the area. One of them was signed to a record label deal. We had an animator in the past that ended up creating animation for an online studio for a bit. And these are just some of the ones that I can think of. Honestly, I always, being in the arts that I do, I'm normally more of a multimedia video production person. So I do a lot more of the technical type of stuff. So I know about a lot of those ones. But if you talk to Meredith or even Katie in this situation, they might know more about the other ones as well. So Katie, when it comes to that question, are there like some artists that we've had in the past that you can recollect that were able to share stuff?
Sorry, I'm talking over you.
Oh, you're
I
fine.
apologize. I know I personally saw Adira Rybin. She put one of her Fun-A-Day pieces in another show, and that sold. So not necessarily even just at the Fun-A-Day event, but like you have a body of work that you can keep putting into shows and keep selling. And then I think Wendy mentioned that her part-time framer right now had come in. She was a Fun-A-Day participant and had come in and gotten a job out of just that connection, making that connection at that time, dropping off her artwork.
Yeah, that was Tallyville, yeah. She just said that the other day to us in that interview. Taking a look at the chat again really fast. I'm going to get back to that question again, by the way, Posada fan, because it is an excellent question. And I got one more person I can think of. Let me see here. Sandy also applauded the question. Doug is crossing his fingers. Go with the flow. Art CMH says, thank you again for all your work in creating this event. I enjoyed the evening. Good night. We are really excited to hear that you enjoyed it. And if you need anything else, just let us know through email or stop by, social media, all that good stuff. Going back to Posada Fan's question really quick, another person that I can point out is Meredith when it came to her second year. And the second Delaware Fun-A-Day we had was probably one of the, I don't know what the word is for it. I wouldn't say strangest, but I'm going to anyway, I guess. I'm going to say strangest year. And the reason being is because the very first year Delaware Fun-A-Day happened, it was at the Queen Theater in Wilmington, Delaware on, I think, like the 3rd or 4th floor. It was like a limited number of participants. I think it was like only about 25 or 30 that first year. And the second year, at the time, I believe the director was, I'm honestly blanking on her name. I know her first name's Katie. It's not our wonderful Katie that's with us now, but it was another Katie that was a co-organizer. And they ended up getting this apartment that was in the middle of renovation. And we were able to go in there and literally do anything we wanted because it was being renovated. So that was probably one of the coolest years of just like an art space because it was more urban and kind of different, so to speak. But that year, Meredith actually ended up creating a bunch of digital art for comic conventions. And she used Delaware Fun-A-Day as a boot camp. And it was later that year that we went to one of the biggest anime shows on the East Coast, if not the biggest, in Otakon. And she sold all of her prints almost when we went down there for the 3-day weekend. And all, or at least a plethora of the work, came from that Delaware Fun-A-Day submission she did called Sweet-A-Day, which was all kind of kawaii illustrative drawings, which was pretty cool. And no problem, Posada fan. Thank you for the great question. So, with only a few minutes left in this wonderful event and evening, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Katie, really quick, and ask you, because, you know, we've been talking about our community all night, and we've been seeing videos of all the amazing people that we end up being able to collaborate with, but, you know, let's flip the script. When it comes down to it, what does Delaware Fun-A-Day mean to you? Whether it's a participant or an organizer, what's the overall concept and feelings you have when thinking about the event?
Actually, I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I lived in New Jersey for a while, for some time because I went to school there. And I had met some people at a sketching event, at a Dr. Sketchy's sketching event. And I mentioned that I was about to move to Wilmington because my sweetheart had gotten a job there. And the first thing that I learned about Wilmington was Delaware Fun-A-Day. This other artist was telling me that they had participated in the Fun-A-Day and how great it was, and I should definitely look it up when I get there. So that was like, it was weird, the Fun-A-Day, and it just kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of organically happened that I needed to have a deeper role and be able to support this awesome event, and I'm just so great. I've learned so much about Delaware. I've learned so much about my colleagues and my neighbors, and I've met so many new people and learned about so many more resources. I just feel incredibly lucky that I've gotten to be a part of this. And shout out to Meredith, who's been like just
under the weather.
So amazing. I know she's under the weather, but like she's just, I don't know, been an amazing friend. And if it wasn't for Fun-A-Day, I never would have met her. So I love it.
I was gonna say, I know that's kind of a tough question to answer on the spot, but it's important because when it comes down to the end of the day, you know, we have amazing volunteers, participants, organizations. If it was inside of a building tonight, we would have the food truck team, we had live artists and performances, and even though we're virtually tonight, it's still important to hear like as organizers and as people who run this event and try to collect the overall art group in just one amazing event for everybody, it's always fun to hear about the ones who get to throw it. And normally in years past, that's kind of a hard question to ask because, you're interacting with everybody. The organizers are usually running around in like the thicket of the woods trying to figure out like who's where, trying to keep everything flowing correctly if it's in person. But it's like this one opportunity we get with the virtual show where it's like we can kind of ask that question from someone who got the chance to organize a wonderful show. Katie's done an amazing and excellent job throughout the overall process this year. And at least from my perspective, I can't thank you enough for all of the hard work you put in. I definitely, of course, a little bit biased when it comes to my wife. I know Meredith does a lot of work. But overall, just to be able to bring this nucleus of amazing artists together, even through a virtual means, a total of 153 participants, multiply that by 30, 31, because it was March. It's been a long day, folks. 31. And you got thousands of pieces of art, whether it be in frames or digital or even makerspace worthy with the 3D models or poems or songs. It's just the amount of creativity that goes behind everybody every single year in and out. And to not really miss a beat this year when we had strange circumstances is rather incredible.
You're here. And thank you for all of your work, too.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to everyone that's still here listening. The one thing that I was initially going to do, because this year, and this is a really strange fact, right? So I'll kind of throw it back on myself here for a second. I've consistently, every year, Fun-A-Day, have been behind the scenes. Whether it was posing for Meredith with the Beer Today gallery we first started off with, or giving just some type of ideas for what we could do for her next Fun-A-Day. You might not believe this, but there was actually only one official time that I submitted something in Fun-A-Day. And that one time was that strange year that I talked about, where we were in the apartment building. And this is going back to Posada's question. I had a whole portfolio of historical buildings in the state and the county I live in, which is the northeast part of Maryland. And I ended up kind of writing stories for each of these buildings like they were people, and made a whole exhibit called Familiar Faces that ended up actually being looked at the Historical Society and gave approval to hopefully one day become just a local county book that we could have. But also looking back at the chat, I know Go With The Flow Art CMH, that's just the name of the YouTube account. So sorry I'm not saying your specific name, by the way. But to go back to Posada's question, they developed classes from their project and taught at least 5 times. So taught these classes 5 times over things that they learned through their Fun-A-Day creations. Going back to the chat, Sandy said, thank you so much for sharing your art and being here to the... You know what? Long day. I'm having a hard time tripping on the word, not going to lie. But Sandy shouted out Beth over there. Sandy also said, Katie is the one who first told me about Delaware Fun-A-Day. And I was born at the time and lived in Delaware. I think I said that a little bit wrong. My apologies. Like I said, long day. I think you can finally tell that's happening to me, too. Sandy also said thank you and a big shout out for Katie, Meredith, and Brandon and all. Beth said, oh, this is a great question. And this is a question that I wish Meredith was here to answer, but I can answer it, and I think Katie can answer it too. But you know what? I'll let Katie answer it first, though. Beth was wondering, is Fun-A-Day a national thing? Because when I tell my friends in other states about it, they are really impressed and wish they had something in their state.
That is an excellent question. And it was actually, anyone can do it. So it was actually started in Philly, and you go to, I can't remember the exact website, but if you search for just Fun-A-Day, not Delaware Fun-A-Day, you'll see there's a website that has a list of all the different places that have taken on this challenge and show. And I think there's one in Scotland.
Yep,
am I right? Like,
you're 100% correct with that one, and that's the reason why I was kind of wishing Meredith was here. But it's kind of like she always points it out at me and kind of pokes the bear with me when it comes to that one, because when it comes to our family heritages, mine comes from Scotland, and the place where Delaware not Delaware Fun-A-Day, it's Scotland obviously, but in Scotland, they do Fun-A-Day in a township called Dundee, and that's actually the exact town where my ancestors are from. So we were talking about maybe one year just skipping across the pond, so to speak, and participate in that Fun-A-Day just so we could see where my family came from and be able to share art across the overall, Atlantic Ocean, so to speak. So
that's cool.
So there are actual other Fun-A-Days that happen nationally and even internationally, and I think Katie might have touched up on this, but the Philadelphia one was the first one, but the Delaware Fun-A-Day actually came out from the Philadelphia crowd. It was more Delaware artists that were going to Philly to showcase their work, but they decided, hey, they got something really great going on here. We want to bring it down to Delaware and create something amazing. And that's how Delaware Fun-A-Day started 10 years ago. It was from the initial Philadelphia one, and just a group of those artists came over and created the whole kit and caboodle, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And it's you can only call it a Fun-A-Day if you decide to start a new one. You can only call it a Fun-A-Day if you are keeping it free for participants, open to all ages, all skill levels, all skill sets, kind of, just that whole, it's to build community. So that's the whole purpose of it. It's not to be like monetized, although I say that, and we do take donations, even though we're not an official 501c3, we do have to pay for the website, and there's always some things that we do have to pay for. So thank you to all of those who have already donated. Anyone who has not is welcome to do so on the website. You can also purchase the t-shirts on the website. So that's my little plug there for necessary things.
Yep, and then just a few more comments that I can say before I guess we close out this amazing event this year. The first one is with the whole donation idea. I know that you probably don't get a chance to really do it this year, but just keep in mind, just for future reference, that if you end up doing an exhibit and at the end of the exhibit you're kind of like, you know what? I don't need this exhibit back, but I'm going to just give it to Delaware Fun-A-Day. What we end up doing with that is we take your artwork, and then when we go to different conventions and trade shows, we end up having it become a name your price, where people can come across, purchase the artwork for donation money that feeds back into running this event every year. So that's another great way to donate if you are okay with letting go of your art. That's helped many times in the past and has always created a really fun setup for us when we go to different conventions and showcase. And let me take a look over here. I'm even more impressed with you and DEFAD. Thanks again for putting it all together. No problem. Our pleasure, by the way. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss something. Doug ended up writing, could you repeat the info about the event in December?
Oh, the one by Lumina Arts, I think, perhaps, is what you're talking about. They're doing a artisan market and artist and artisan market in the gallery space there at the Grace United Methodist Church in Wilmington on Washington Street. So if you are interested in participating in that, you would reach out to Vanessa at luminaarts.org, and that's Vanessa with one S. So that's VANESA at LUMINAARTS.org.
Yep.
And you know what? I actually forgot to mention earlier. The woman Vanessa, who's heading that, is also a Zentangle teacher, and she is going to be teaching at the Delaware Art Museum a virtual Zentangle class this Sunday at 2, and it's a free virtual event. So you should check it out.
As always, we're constantly trying to plug amazing events out to our community. And anytime, again, you get an exhibit or anything on your mind, let us know, and we'll be more than happy to share it. And let's see. I'm just taking one last look. All right. With that being said, we went a little bit over the 3-hour time, but it was well worth it as always. Thank you all so much for participating, your encouragement, your efforts, everything you did through Makers Month. Whether it was a few pieces or whether it was every single day, every single piece of art made a difference. It was all amazing this year. And we really couldn't thank you more. We just can't thank you enough is what I'm trying to say, because this event came together extremely beautifully. And honestly, being the tech director, I think my Delaware Fun-A-Day project, honestly, was just making sure this all ran smooth and getting it up and putting it together. So I'll kind of push my Fun-A-Day as that's what I was planning on doing, but not really.
Right.
But overall, we can't thank you all enough. And with that being said, I'll turn to Katie for any last closing remarks before we head off into the sunset.
I'm just seeing, like, some of you do post your progress as you go on social media, and seeing you guys doing so much and being so invested in it helps to inspire me to keep going with my project. So I think your tenacity, and I mean, it's hard to do.
It really is.
Something all month long. I mean, it really is, but you inspire me to keep going. So thank you very much.
And just a last few comments that came in before we head off for the night. Posada fan came back and said, appreciate the stories, the format, the art, everything. Thank you so much. Route 9 Library came in and said, thank you, very enjoyable, with an exclamation mark. We love our exclamation marks at Delaware Fun-A-Day. And Sandy came through and said, again, thank you. Lives are being changed and souls healed and expanded by Delaware Fun-A-Day, with many exclamation marks. Other than that, without further ado, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. I'm Brandon Boas, the DEFAD Tech Director. And I'll lead it off to you, Katie.
Katie LeCocq, co-lead.
And we're going to sign off for the night. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to hit us at any of our social media channels, or a better way, just through email. We'll catch you next time. Thank you so much. Have a lovely night. Have a great weekend, and stay safe.